One on the right.
The picture to the right, where Beanie Man's supposed to be. Guess you could leave that.
Yeah, you're live, I think.
Oh, all right. Salam, salam. Kuburat, Huatnat, Abotat, Adetat, Kumalahum. Captain Eritrea, we're back again today. I brought some professionals to speak on matters of the Horn of Africa. I'll let them introduce themselves. We have one more individual where you see my pictures. Binyam, come and see you here in a second. So before we get started, let me give the floor and let them introduce themselves. First person that will introduce themselves is somebody? Baba Bayane?
Yeah, Samakalo.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell music at Fire Bajaha.
T.R.A.P kanna bay?
We can see you.
Mohjimud.
All right, introduce yourself, please.
مجمريا سلام كابتن إريتريا كومون إتهم كلهم أبزي تساتفكم ذلهم أكلات كمل لهم بمغصال شمي مكيل بيانة بحال فأبريفيشن ون ود بيانة تباهيلة يسوع مالتي أنا زغمتو أب سان دياغو كاليفورنيا يو أب قداي قعزو هيوتي أب قالسي كابزي جمر كسابزا ساعد زي 45 عامس غير لهم جينا حايلين حلناين لك عمتي كجمر كلخنا بصورة سمعتين دليتين كم قلو مغنياتو لو تن معبلنا ناب هاقري سلزي ترقي حجونا له كساب توم جاقانونا زقرف لنا حدري أما عالبوز بصح يغني اللي.
Okay, thank you, sir. And then next on the chopping block, we got our big brother Abraham. I'm sorry, Daniel. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Okay, سمي دانيال أبراهام بحال بميدوست ينبر. نابزي مصلحة هذا كان لك كابتن إريتريا. Thank you. اتحاد ممسي خاني نزي عمات سرعات كابها قرنات آليو. في الزناز مرج أو من بستاوي محدرة. زيت قلبون عوق مقبركا بحساب كل كالس. نايفت حسابات. كوينا نسرح مستم محواتيك أسرح مالتي.
Excellent. Okay, so Binyam Alokhmat is going to join us. Today we're going to have an open, semi-open professional conversation. Nothing too major, but just to get our thoughts and our ideology and what our perspectives are of what's going on. I'm going to be asking certain questions. Some political experience political, they have a lot of political experience. They do certain things themselves and they each represent themselves as individuals. So Mr. Bayane represents Mr. Bayane and our brother Daniel represents himself. With that being said, let's start the floor with one question. First question I would like to ask you, gentlemen. Why is there a HUDF agenda to hide the truth about Eritreans in Ethiopia occupancy in Tigray? Salamtai buzah shigur alo ti hak nagar zarbwo Eritreans occupying Ethiopia occupy atiom inshallah buzah aton zublu ntai tishitara salamtai aton yublu. We'll start off with Baba Bayane.
مجمريا نحنا نزارب زلنا بزعبا غزانا إنا نزارب زلنا غزانا خاطا إيرترا مالتي نحطو خاني من لاس نتخوينو قال كبل أقدمه تبهريات نايت سرعات ስርዓት እኳ ይብሎኒ ኣነ ጉጅለ እየ ዝብሎ ምክንያቱ ስርዓት ሕጊ ኣለዎ መምርሒ ኣለዎ ኮታ ምስ ዓለም ዘራኽቦ ውሽጣዊ ኣገባቡን ኣለዎ እዚ ኣብ ኤርትራ ዘሎ ትናይ ቀለም ንግደፎ ኣብ ግዜ ቃልሲ ዝነበረ ድሕሪ ሃገራዊ ናጽነት ግን እዚ መስመራ ዘሎ ጉጅለ ኩሉ ነገር ብሕቡእ ህዝቢ ዘይፈልጦ ዓለም ዘይፈልጦ ስራሕ ይሰርሕ ኣብ ታሪክ ናይ ኤርትራ ካብ 91 ዓመተ ምህረት ክሳብ ሕጂ ዋላ ተንቁሩብ መዓልታት ይበሃል ይብሉ እምበር ኣነ እኳ ይኣምንን እየ ፓርላማ ህዝቢ ዝመረፆ ኣይተረአን ሕጊ ብህዝቢ ክንደፍ ተጀሚሩ ተጨውዩ ሕቶ ህዝቢ ኣብ ክንዲ ህዝባዊ ፍታሕ ዝረክብ ሓደ ውልቀ ሰብ ምስ ጉጅልኡ ኮይኑ ንሃገር ኣብዚ ሕጂ በፂሓቶ ዘላ ኩነታት ኣብፅሕዋ ሃገርና ኤርትራ ኣብ ሙሉእ ዓለም እታ ዝተበደለት ተጨቆነት ተራእዩ ዘይፈልጥ ዲክታተርያዊ ኣሰራርሓ ዝጥቀም ጉጅለ ኣብ ዓለም ቀዳመይቲ እያ ኩለን ሃገራት ዋላ ዲክታተራት ነይሮም እዮም በዓል ሰዳም ነይሮም እዮም በዓል ሊብያ ነይሮም እዮም ካልኦት እውን ነይሮም እዮም ኣለዎም በዓል ኮርያ ሃገሮም እናማዕበሉ እዮም ዝጭኩኑ ናይዚ ግን ነቲ ሕብረተሰብ ምጽናት ብጀካ መሬት ንሱን ዘድልይዎ ሰባትን ሒዙ ህዝቢ ኤርትራ ኣፉ ተዓቢሱ ጥራሕ ዘይኮነ ከብዱውን ነታ መዓልታዊ ህይወቱ ንኽነብር ዝበልዓ ዘይብሉ ህዝቢ ኣብፅሕዎ ኣሎ እዚ ሕጂ ዋላ እንተ ተተዘርበ እቶም ኣብ ወፃእ ዝርከቡ ናቱ ኣኽላባት ንሳቶም ሓቂ እንዳረኣዩ ባዕሎም ዓዲ እናኸዱ እንዳረኣዩ ፀገም ክከላኸሉሉ ምፍታኖም ግን ከይገረመኒ ይተርፍኒ እምበር ስለምንታይ እዩ ኣብ ውሽጢ ኢትዮጵያ ኣትዩ ከሎ እቲ ዝኣተዎ ዝሓብእ ዝብል ሕቶ ባህርያቱ እንድዩ ሓደ ዕዋላ ጉጅለ እንተ ሰሪቑ ይሰረቁን እንተ ቀቲሉ ይቀተልኩን እንተ ዘሚቱ ዘመትኩን እዩ ዝብል ስለዚ ካብ ሓደ ኢንዲቪጁዋል ጀሚርካ ረእዮ ድሕሪ ሓደ ሰራቂ ኮይኑ ወይ ቀጣፊ ኮይኑ እቲ ኩሉ ዝብሎ ዲናይ እናገበረ እዩ ዝኸይድ እዚ ኸ ከምኡ እዩ ስለዚ ሓደ ዕዋላ ዝኾነ ጉጅለ ብሓደ ዕዋላ ዝኾነ ሰብ ዝምራሕ ኣብ ሃገርና ወሪዱ ዘሎ መዓት ቶም ዋናታቱ ቶም ደቂ ሃገር ቶም ተቃለስቲ ቶም ፍታሕ እንደሊ ቶም ለውጥ እንደሊ እቲ ብሕጊ ክመሓደር እንደሊ ሃገርና ንፈልጦ ኢና ሓጢያቱ ዋላ እውን ቶም ኣባላቱ ፈልጥዎ እዮም ንሕና ነቃልዕ ንሶም ይከላኸሉሉ ስለዚ ስርዓት እዚ ብመሰረቱ እዚ ጉጅለ እዚ ኣክቹዋሊ ብመሰረቱ ኣብ ዓለም ሙሉእ ዝገበሮ ኩሉ ገበና ዝገበሮ እሱ እዩ ንሱ ከም ዘይገበረ ጥራሕ እዩ ዝገብር ኣብ ኢትዮጵያ ኣሎ ዝበሃል ሰራዊት ናይ ኤርትራ ኣትሎ ዊስ ካብ ሕጊ ወፃእ ዝኾነ ስራሕ እዩ ኣሉ ብል ነይሩ ይሕሱ ነይሩ የዳናግር ነይሩ ግደፍዶ ንሕና ኤርትራውያን ዓለም ሙሉእ ፈሊጥዎ ምክንያቱ ዓለም ሎሚ ብሳተላይት ገረም ዝርእይዎ እዩ ሰራዊት ኣይኮነን ህይወት ዘሎ ምንቅስቃስ ካልእ ሜላታት ዘለውን ዝቋፀሩሉ መድረክ ስለ ዝኾነ ኖ ተቃልዑ ተወፅኡ ውፃእ ዘይተወፅእ ከዓ ስጉምቲ ክንወስድ እናብልዎ ኣለዉ ወደ እውን ትዘገርም ነገር ንሰራዊትና ሸይጥዎ እዩ ዝበሃል ዘሎ ሕጂ $1 ቢልዮን ምስ ኣብይ ተሰሚዑ እቶም ደቂ ድኻ ክሞቱ ንሱ ከዓ ጅቡኡ ክመልእ መድረክ በፂሑ ኣሎ ገና እውን ካልእ ንቐኒ እምበር ካልእ እውን ክንሰምዕ ኢና يغني الله مليس لك أخوان تسفى قبل.
Okay, so Mr. Abraham, would you like me to read the question, or you remember the question?
Sure, you can.
Okay, so a lot of people they say, "Hey, you have no proof that Eritreans are in Ethiopia." You know, a lot of people try to. I don't know if that's propaganda. The whole world knows, according, at least in my opinion, and what I see in social media and in the news, the whole world knows that, you know, we're in Ethiopia. Eritrea is in Ethiopia. What is the agenda behind that? What's the point of saying they're not there? Why don't we just accept that and move on? I regret.
Okay. As أبوي بينز ولو لك عندي كأو أتصيله تأخذ الزلي نحناتهم دليتي فتحين بهال نقدم مس نفسنا خنزارب لنا دلاي فتح مالت انتاي مسلكا بدنا تيرردا فتحين من خات دلي زلخا نزخونه استبدل زبل كل خا you stand up for it because ساتم تطويلهم كزارو يكونوا حجي انتاي تعوصا خوين زدغفونه تسرعات انتاي نحلكاني بفرحي اب عدو فريحو نبر عاوز مصيخا فريح نبر حجي انتايو اتفتحي اي لمدنايو اكسرسايز مغبرك علنا حجي تاي خبلك هذا اتي نعيني مسكر ابتي اوش زلو نعملت 250 شيء زغونو ريفيجيس علونا اب تግራይ ساتهم تفناقيلهم علو حجي مساعتهم ركب علنا كل ጊዜ ركب علنا زخون إيرتراوي زي تسدد سب يبلون أقول العالم تسدد زلوا سب حجتاي ويحاوها ويزمركا ودحات النهاسي كاب تግራይ ينقرك عمله إنت officially نقدفونه السب من تامسلكا نعو I don't know تفضحون كا داويت بارو سلسة بحالة أب إيرترا بارو سلسة تامسلكا إذن إساس undercovers this information wrong information اجنت هاي قبر مسلكا تسرعات حد نقر سدلنا مو بزعبو نزار نحد ذكروا هنكا ابزنا جي 15 نابنت كدم صارهم بزعبا جي 15 بزح غزي زارو بنيرم شيء تهاجرهم يوم كم زخينهم يوم كم زين نحنا كانتاي نقبرتهم حزبي مسؤول نطاطع مالتي حجتي اساس بلو نحنا ندقم كل غزي حجي عالم تايم بولكو نحنا نصح نكون ايقالنا كاب صقعتات نقدم نحنا تصقعي كيوسلكا فري كون كتقل عليك كم زي حدا ودخا امريكا انت سريقو تزولها ويطفي تزولها انت مغبركا so it happened this over and over and over تناديتاتنا وينز بلا زلوا اب وشتي حجت اجندا انت يمسلكا نزي كافر بوروز دليل مخنيات انتايو الليغال ايشو خيمت تباهيلو نمشفان تباهيلو يرترانسي إدنا تنان زبل زلو إساس منتي حقاو زغانة مسرح كي نسرحتهم دليت فتحموني اب فردي كي نتسئلو زغمصو نقراتي زي إذن it's too late because توم حواتنا توم دقنا اب زي كناتهم اب ناي كونات إثيوبيان ناي تግራይ نعنا زملكتنا قداي يكونز ولا حنت نعنا ناي إرترا قداي يكونز إذن إساس قداي حجنة قول عام سموته تسوي غلو نتدرهم بنقرهم تبعات يقولوا كنقروا يكلني انتاي جن المسلكا ابادميم تسويهم ابادمان امنت حجي وقيله at this time حجي انتاي قبل مسلكا كورونا حميموم كم تقول ديال كورونا كم ماكينات صديفو هم ناقر يقتل كانوا زي سرعه حجينا تي فاميلنات كان تاي غورو wrong information هو مبر سويو تسويو على هاجرو نهاجرو ناصنت نزوم عبيتي تجارت حواتنا نظم دليت فتحنا يقدم حواتنا بتعمي انا زخبرهم زمسغنهم سلامنتاي they stand ابتاز بلوا ابتاز زوصلا هاجر صنيعهم ينبروا مالتي وتم دليت فتحي اب دغه وصيم زلوتهم عبيت خاني اتفتح سلا زي راي وسلا حج قالسلو سلازن 53 عام تقالسلو مالتي خمزي ابوي بينز بولو مالتي حجتا يخبلك دلي نمنتاي ادميت زي قبر زلوت منغستي ناتو غروفو قومي سروح نحنا جن كم سبات تطوينا خنزارك نكلالنا اب تግራይ اتيدو هو اتيو دقنا يموتلو دو هو موتلو because عدن حدويلكا ودها تصبيو مش كا بيت مرتي ودها تصبيو خمص خلو ابتي باس وين كا تصبيو هنا عند حزي مسيسي you get crazy ابي كان ابي تفي حجنتاي حزب إرترا اتي سرعات بكوفيد عتي والله حاده لحد بطمه حجاب إرترا سني حماق يزلو بتاعنا حجن منتاي حماق كون حكاني تريزالت نايتي زغبرو زلو نسو يزبل مالتي يعني
Excellent. بيني ماك تسمعنا دخل؟ We see you. Can you hear us? Unmute it.
Okay, I can hear you clearly. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
So, yeah, so they both explain in Tigrina. For my English-speaking viewers, I would like you to explain this one in English, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
So the same question both gentlemen answered is, although we know there's Eritrean occupation in Ethiopia, and at this point the whole world knows and understands, why is there a higdef or any type of agenda to hide the truth about Eritreans occupying Ethiopia? What is the point of that? Why don't we just go ahead and admit that and move forward?
Okay. So you want me to, I guess, use my fifth language, English, So let me tell you guys a little bit about myself. My name is Biniam Emmanuel.
Apologize. I didn't let you introduce yourself. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I showed up in Habasha time. So my name is Biniam Emmanuel. I reside here in Central California. I'm in the medical field. I specialize in the mental health field of the medicine field. I grew up in Eritrea, but my life was cut short because of the war. My parents was in the military during the independence of Eritrea. I grew up around soldiers when I was a kid. I was a toddler working with Eritrean troops at the time. And because of the war, I lost family just like every Eritrean has. And I had the opportunity to live in refugee camps as a child. And I've seen probably what most people are seeing today, which is a dark and very sad situation that's going on in the Horn of Africa. I was very fortunate to be sponsored by the Catholic Church for those of us that was residing in UNICEF and UNSR refugee camps to come to America as a 14-year-old in 1991. I'm sorry, 1990. I came before Eritrea was independent. I lived here for 30 years. I have the opportunity to take every opportunity that was given to me that my people was not, so every chance that I have to obtain education and to become what my parents would be proud of, because every Eritrean parents will tell you, they tell their kids either become a doctor or engineer or a business person. They don't know anything else because they didn't have any other opportunity. So I'm very fortunate and I'm very proud to be Eritrean. Just the fact that the Eritrean blood runs deep in me and my ancestors. We're very, by any means, we're very much kind of dealt with the dark side of history. I never expected today to have that happen again, in Horn Africa, because the Horn Africa is a special place for all of us, whether we're Eritrean, Ethiopians, and Somalian, and Djibouti, because that is the place of religion. That's the place of birth of God for many reasons, and that's also Lucy, the hominid, where the origin human being have discovered, the Nubians, So with all that said, today it's a dark place that we are here again because we're seeing the same cycle of hate, the same cycle of war happening in our beloved country, Eritrea, and our neighbors, Ethiopia. Those of us that stand against war and atrocity and genocide, we can clearly speak with freedom and say, it's wrong what's happening. It is not something we should celebrate. It's just something we'll all be united and speak loudly against it. And when David here, Captain America, asked why there are many people that are celebrating this thing and the disgusting, why can we all unite and say it's wrong, let's stop it together and voice strong frontline to stop it. I was clearly a member of the Eritrean Youth President back in 1998 to 2000, where we did the same thing, what the Takara are doing right now. We're screaming, stop the war, stop the bleeding, stop the genocide. We did that. And now we're in 2021 and that is happening, So there is a lot of things that we have to look at it from my field, mental health field. The leaders of the Horn of Africa are probably not the most, I would say, people that should be leading the country or a nation or anything, because many of them have been wars for 30 years and all they know is war, They have lived through PTSD, they have lived through paranoia. They're constantly thinking somebody's invading them. They're constantly thinking war. So every child that's born in Eritrea or born under a dictator who's lived all his life around killing and even arresting his own best friend, is going to think that that child grow up to be in the military. That's the only opportunity is left for that child. Imagine, I have children myself. Your child first gift is an AK-47, basically. That child goes to middle school or high school, they're going to be doing national service and they're going to be living in trenches the rest of their life. That is the reason many Eritreans leave the country, not because they don't love their country. There is no one that I met Eritrean that does not proud of the flag of Eritrea that their ancestors have given blood for. There's not one Eritrean that doesn't want opportunity that I have or you guys have to have an opportunity, whether to go to school or work. But that is not presented to them because those leaders of 30 years that have severe mental health, I see it as like severe. If you would do a CT scan of our brain, or if I can show you guys the brain of a person that's been through so much war without food, water, they were drinking from even at time their own urine. They were drinking like constantly right now, self-medicate through alcohol and many things, remedy. These people, if you look at their brain, it's the same way to look at someone with a lung that smokes every day. You show that person lung versus a person that doesn't smoke. If I show you that lung, you're going to clearly see the person that smokes all the time has a lung that's probably decimated and is dark because of all the smoking. The brain is the same way. Those leaders that are constantly being in war, that are constantly spent many years in dirt and jungles, and they came to the city to read the country, they're not the most qualified human being because little situation that can be compromised and resolved and end up into what we've seen today, war. So we have to be the one that have clear head. If we're clear of mind and clear of heart, we should all be united to say enough. Our brothers and sisters in Eritrea, our brothers and sisters in Ethiopia, Tigray, everywhere, they deserve the same opportunity we have: water, food, shelter, and medicine, nothing else. But this is the reason that there are some here, you asked, there's a lot of members here that support this. The reason they support it, they know it's wrong. But there's this thing called Stockholm syndrome. You know, if somebody gets so much abuse, they don't know anything better than abuse. They think abuse is normal, but a person with a clear head and mind knows abuse is enough. I've been in a position where I was in ER, and I have seen women that are being beat up so much their eye was hanging out of their face. And you're here trying to help them, but at the same time, you're trying to get the person that damaged them to go to jail and have them sign a paper. They won't do it because they have had so much abuse. They don't know what is to be as a normal person. Our people have suffered so much and have seen so many war and so much abuse. They think what Assassin is doing and his leaders is a normal thing. They take it as like, oh, they're fighting for their freedom. Oh, they're doing this because if they didn't do it, somebody else was going to do it to them. So you understand the paranoia and the PTSD and the mental health of our people is not, it's sad to say. I have like family members that are like that. I have my own brother that probably sitting next to his house right now. The people that know me outside this. And it's hard to sit in a room and see them as patient. It's hard to see them as like, the only reason that I would think right now, these people in Horn Africa, if they have to move forward and to have a better opportunity, these people that have been in leadership for 30, 40 years, they need to be in a nursing home or somewhere retired and completely removed, or you have the same cancer. If you don't treat it, it's going to continue to spread. And you're going to see little things that can be resolved in a table. They're going to kill hundreds of thousands of people. And then at the end, they're going to sit together in a paper and sign a piece of paper, you know? So I'm sorry if I answer your question correctly, but the people that support this, they need to get checked mentally. They really need to check mentally because this is not a normal. This is not something anybody with heart and a clear mind and brain that thinks children right now that are sleeping like me under a tree with mother asking, where is my husband? I apologize. That is asking, where is my spouse? And women that are being raped. It's disgusting. Like literally, no one in their mindset celebrate this. No one in their right mindset today should be, this is okay. I don't care if they are Tagaru. I don't care if they're Amharu, Oromo, Eritrea. They're human being like you and me. And you have to think that first thing. When you're here in America, if you see something wrong, you speak against it. You don't look at it like, oh, they don't look the same as me or they don't speak the same language, you know? So I thank you, Dawit, Captain Eritrea. I apologize for taking too long. This is a place where I didn't think at age my 40s that my children should be roaming Eritrea. There should be freedom. There should be volunteering. Me and you and anybody that came to America, we came to be special so we can go back and help Eritrea, but we're all hostage. And those people that support it are hostage too, because they fear because their next opportunity to visit Eritrea, because their cousin or mom or sister that still live in Eritrea. You have to think about that, Dawit. It's a sensitive thing. They know what a dictator do. He killed his own best friend. He locked them up. What do you think they will do to them if they join you and me today and say, what's going on is wrong? We should all unite. And they're thinking next summer they're going to visit Masawa. They're going to think the system that Isaiah's learned in China with my own father and uncle, it's a system to make people distrust and hate each other and constantly living in paranoia. So I wish I can answer any further question. ትግርኛ ኢለ ድማ ክዛረብ ይኽእል እያ ምክንያቱ ኣብ ዘለዉ ኣሕዋተይ ብዙሓት ዝሰምዕዎ እዚ ጉዳይ ሓንቲ ነገር ትሓስብሉ ዘለኩም እዚ ዝኸውን ዘሎ ኣብ ሃገርና ወላ ኣብ ጎረባብትና ናይ ብሓቂ ምዝራብ ተኮይና ሕማም ናይ ሓንጎል እዩ መብዛሕትኡ ሰብ ሕጂ ካብ ኮሮና ቫይረስ ይፈርሃሉ ኣብ ወፃኢ ኣብ ካብ ኮሮና ቫይረስ ይዕፆ ነይሩ ግን ኣብ ቀርኒ ኣፍሪቃ ውግእ ጀሚሮም ነንሕዶም ቃተሉ ኣለዉ ከመይ ገሊ ወዲ ሰብ ካብ ሕማም ኮሮና ቫይረስ ኣብ ገዝኡ ዝተዓፅፊዩስ ደቁ ድማ ኣብ በረኻ ክጋደል ደቁ ድማ ኣብ በረኻ ክመቱ you ከመይ ጌርካ ንሕና እዚኦም ተማሃርና ሰብ ነዚ ጉዳይ ከመይ ጌርና ከም ንፍውሶ ንስድራና ከይጥፍእ ኢና ንሓስብ ኣብ ወፃኢ ግን ኣብ ውሽጢ ሃገር ድማ ከምዚ ዝገብሩ እቲ ዘሎ ኣብ ጉዳይ ኤርትራ ጉዳይ ኢትዮጵያ ብጣዕሚ ሕማም እዩ ክትፈልጥዎ ካብ ኮሮና ቫይረስ ካብ ኢቦላ ካብ ኤድስ ዝበርትዐ ሕማም እዩ ምክንያቱ ሕማም ሓንጎል ቀሊል ነገር ኣይኮነን እዚኦም ድማ ዝመርሕኩም ዘለዎ ኣብ ሓዊ እዚኦም ድማ ዝመርሕኩም ዘለዎ ኣብ ውግእ እዚኦም ድማ ነንሕድኩም ዘቃትልኩም ዘለው ሓንጎሎም ፅቡቅ ሰብ ኣይኮነን حق مزراب أبزيد وصاي تمهرنا حنقولهم مشينا اتنان دريناكم بتعم ورقهم كما يجروا حنقولهم نقيسهم زخونه نقصت قرب ما زي ستيت املو نقيسها تريحها لها انت قرب دما ما تست عم بابا بالعلي تريحها لها تفلالي تريحها زوم سباد دما حنقولهم صبيبو حماق كل شيء حسبوا حنقولهم تصرو يكونن لبهم تصرو يكونن كلنا بحنس اخوينا ود سب كمود سب بترح هاجرنا نشيك لنا نحجر إيرتراوين بس حتى نزارب زلنا هاجرنا تسألينا يكونن هاجرنا هم كل إيرتراو تندد وش اللي نزل أنا ميا أخواتنا أبوتاتنا تسألها هاجريا so داويت يخون ولا زحوي يخون ولا أبوي مايكل يخون كلهم زاربوا زلوا نهاجرهم تسأليهم سبات يكونن معناته كلنا نهاجرنا هل نقدر تكون نتبنيرنا إحنا نصنع تجوم عبيت سبات نهاجرنا ذهبونا نحنا بسلام كنا برا ز حسبوا نجارم حجي يدنقيو يجهيو بحنس أخينا دمات صلوتهم قبل لهم بحنس أدم فينا سميرنا حماء زخون زلوا بقرن أفريقيا تجراوي كيبنا محرا كيبنا أروما كيبنا جيجا ناشناليزم أيكونن جيجا إثنيك أيكونن جيجا كمي مثل ناي ودسب بتعمي أبزق زي يجهيني مهنيات كل إريتراوي جهيو زلوا لبزولو إيرتراوي زخو بيولو حقوسو يلون لوم زخون دما صباح كالش دغمي سو ابزي تتوخ بلي قريتا ابزي حالكم بتقراون كزارب خيليه بعربون كزارب خيليه كبيجرنا كم نسمعوا إيرتراويان كنقبر لنا معناته شعت بهرات هذا لبني بنينا هجي دما هذا لبهم كون لنا هذا سميرنا حماق زخون قداي حماق نبل لنا نمبر صبوق نبل يبلنا انا يرد اني تو بوليتيكا اتسلمتاكم زخون يرد اني لو بن وجز فتسم نجار يلين بسلام ترحي. Sorry.
All right. Thank you.
No, I got too passionate.
You let the whole meeting out. So my next question, gentlemen, thank you for answering that. I'll ask it in English and I'm going to ask it in Tigrina. Once dictator Isaias Afwerki is removed, what is the plan for a transitional government? Isaias Miswarede, entai to plans alana nqimik kay transitional government. Entai hasab alab zaadi, entai hasab alab kala adi Europe gale. Iska glass alna kurukte your idea of what the plan is in their halifun or what he doing or moy tuji.
ናይ ብሓቂ እቲ ቢንያም ክጎጾ ፀንሐ ብጣዕሚ ዘሐጉስ እዩ ብሳይንስ ኣተሓሒዙ ክገልጽ ፀኒሑ ብትግርኛ ይኹን ብእንግሊሽ ናይ ብሓቂ ዕድመ ሃብካ ደቅና ኣብ ደረጃ እዚ ምብጻሕኩምን ብጣዕሚ ዘሐጉስ ነገር እዩ እቶም PTS ዘለዎም ኤርትራውያን ዋላ ብዚ ተወልዱ ብከምዚ ደረጃ ጌርካ ከተረድኦም ብጣዕሚ ውፅኢት ዘለዎን ንዕኦም ናብ ህይወት ምምላስ ማለት እዩ زعبات زحاتت كاي حتو داويد إذا سرعات زي انت خيدو سي أبناء transitional government انتاي بلان علو platform انتاي علو زبل حتو أقداسي نتبيو جن زي أبتخال أي درجة زخونيو حجي نحن عقنا توكرولو زلنا إذن ندكنان نحواتنان ندكنان زتفق زلو وجيلي بفلاي كا أبزي عدو آتيو ناقش في حصانات قلعو مهارو زقبقهم كعبي زقبقهم زتصن زلو كمي قرنا نزيئهم نودحنو كمي قرنا نعو نسعلو يتقدم يتقدم زلو أبدي تقالسي أبدي قلو أو وشتون علو تلوتقن تارقا بوش تنبر بديقه متسايكلني جن اتبديقه زلو كلتوقي زلو اتحادي هقدف بعلوم أوش تسقاومات يوم نتقاومو يخفافلوه نعو مسيلهم أجندانا هقدف يواسو وانا ذا حجي أب تقرأي زلو وقع بزحيهم فتينهم هقدف نيرتراو خفلاليو طباح ناقورو أمسيهم ويدا زي ترد أمبر إسراوي شعات بهراز زلو هزبي شعات قوانقوات هزارب هزبي نناتو لمدن بهلن كم زلوه إزي فليت إلخا كم حدا هاجر قيمو خيط سنحن زلون سلازم تاي مالتي إيه حطونا هجي نزي سرعات ويك أو جيلي أبسمرا أب إيرسرا زلو هزبنا زلو كمي قرنا نسعوي دحر مسعارنا اتبدي زلو بزح بلانات زلو نابنت تزبز حي متأخاب زلو ودبات علوها تأخاقبا أرسيبي كاني يأكل علو سمين أمريكان دحر 5 أخوينا خبابر بعقصة 4 كلتا زغونا هاقرات أمين كتماتات تصرنا فيه إذن بعلو اتهزبي ززاربولو زلو حده أمبريلان تفتيرو نز سرعات زي كنودقو كم زي إذا عينت مدب كنقبر لنا يبل كم قدامي حيزوها نعو يسرحلو إذا سرعات ويك أو جلازين توديقو هاقرنا كمي قرنا مستي أقواقو معا transitional government نقبر بمبال دوكومنت زغونا له أبي أكل له أبو الدبات له أبكال سيبك محوراتون له أمولا عالم حجز كل زين تأيو مهوراتون نت سنيت ناس بهالجروب له أم مهورات قبلو مصنعات التجارة له وناي سنيت زبهال حجي من قصاص كوين له نسم زدالو ودوكمنت سونا له سلازي اتهم مهوراتون نوعلم ناس أخافبو بوجلة يكون بجروب عابس خانة جروب يكون زدالو ودوكمنت سالو أبو سجم أي كهلوني بحلايه مخنياتو تشجر زلنا تايو تقند سجم زلنا خنت جواب زخون زلنا كم يجر كان زي أرمينا وجل موداقي سلازي إتي ناي transitional government يكون ناي مهدأته مجمريا بزعبا transition كتزارب تكون كتعدي هذا له سرعة مسودقة تعدي secure كونه له أبتموكرونا ديكتاتورات كود كخلو زمت صعبينات له حدا جزء واي إتي ديكتاتور أنت زحيش أنت تصنع محاشي زبها له أبو مثلا كين أتو تموكرونا العراق تموكرونا ليبيا تموكرونا أفغانستان دحر مودا تقولي تسرعات تزمرح زنبره تاي صقم اغاطيموم سلامنتاي انتاي زي تفتح نيرو نزي كم ممهاري كم موكسي غيركا اب هاغرناون كومز امثله صعبينات كيمص متنقا كدلي بشللتنا زغير يله مخنياتو اتي غجله مسودقه أوشتو زقامو زنورو أنا زبلوك موتيمي أبدي جزلو أبغرباب تزلو هاجرات زقتوالو نجارات نعنز مسلوق جبراهم بزح نجارك ما تسخديو نزي awareness كدليناي مجمريا موضع السرعات بدي حلو secret wise نتعاجر stable تكونلو تهزو غيب الدل أبز حاشة من قدي بريج مسرح مفتار كم زغد الليو نزي تي كم intellectuals نحنا بفلاي from a dictator to democracy transitional government زبل بزح ما صحفت له تم زلهم انتم بوكمون تعمل صبور بزح نجار يزريكا اتملكع كل جزء كاس في الترابيو أبتستر وورلد زخاني سلا زخاني ناتهم تموكلوا تمسخلغان عبنت أب ليبيا زخاني أبانا عاوز يكون له مهنيات يلا أب يمن زخاني كمان the same one أب إثيوبيا زنبرة خناتات أبانا هون كجات مخيلي مهنيات to level education نحن educational level and the experience the same استقرار عربي قله فليونات كله يخيلي دين استقرار عربي حجنا زي أيكس الجمنيو بهالاي مهنيات كله أول كون له مرير وله قدف دوتي زقام زلا أكل إتو مزوز ولا كمان مرير وله قلنا حنتو قد الله حجون كلهم كتستوعبوا لا إذن عوب زوان زي حزب النات فئين زي حق زوزلو جزاس لزلنا بعدي بيلاس لزلنا عدي حنت حتى قن قحطينا تهزبي صباح نقوم مستغيرة إسرعتك منيو إسرعتك مقابل تسيو تاجزها حلو الكاديو تاريخ كيدرسعو حزب إرترا بزي الجباب مريتو تحديقو قراتو تحديقو حزب إرترا بزي الجباب حقن دابو تحديقو حزب إرترا بزي الجباب أوراجاتاتو فريسن بزي الجباب طليان غزيو إنجليز غزيو هايدا سلاسة منغوستو غزيوم أب من نبابرو حزب إرترا أمريتو يخون أبهلو يخون حقن دابو يخون آتي ما يفوتو بزيهم قوانا تيمين إتي دكنا خفيلنا حواتنا خفيلنا نفسنا خفيلنا زمصت عدي دكنا زبلوهم جن نتلمدن نتخبرن نهزبنا أطفيهم إساساو زبهال تاريخ فترو فتينو إذا خيتر الصعود إذا نحنا يكونه نحنا سلا يكونه نحنا نبوتو خنملس نحنا قالسيو نحزب إرسال لمديو تاريخي إرسال كانت زارب تخونكا انتا يبهلو انتا يتمكرؤ كابي ينقيلو كمي لا يقوي مع إرترا انتا حبرت سبار لوا انتا يبهل اللوا انتا حق اللوا زبل حتو أبكيد ما خايز مسل عالم تاريخ ليقاونتنا تاريخ صحفو خلوون نزيهم زو كسو سلازي انتا أخبر كدم دمالكا أمسغار منغستي ناي إرترا إذا كله مكرا وريدو أمسغار بسيحو حزب إرترا أي بأسنيو حزب إرترا بشي زغدلنا ملئي كارت جزينا بجزينا تساعدري نتهاجر أبز حس أنا جزي أم نقولكم السامحانو أي تارات أرني ولا حنكا. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's an excellent explanation. Daniel Hawana, I have a special question for you. You have a lot of experience in different arenas of business. Kulu. One of the problems I see is for the younger generation, the youth. We see a lot of organizations. We see a lot of ta'amtis. We see, all these different organizations. We can't even understand majority of them. We all understand. We all see Akil. We see Bright Future. We see all these organizations. But why is it that we cannot all completely agree on one umbrella, one organization at the top, for all the other organizations to fall under? And then it doesn't matter what your ideology or perspectives is. You might have differences that we understand. I get it. We all have, not everybody's going to agree with Dawood. I get it. But why can't we come together collectively to samami'ina bahansab hanta hayal organization tahti an khayr, and then just like the United States electoral college vote each person from each city bahansab team gerom cabinet gerom. Why come gerom? Why can't they accomplish that? Film on mute him.
No.
Okay. Okay. نابتا مجمريا نتي أتو بين زحتت كيا قرب زعما خزار بدلي أنا إيرتراب مهاني بتعمي زهبة is priceless ينعي سلمنتاي أب هاجرنا كم ز Western country police زحلو حزبي كونن ناتنا حزبناتنا معبول كاب 1930 ساعت حزبنا معبول حجنا عملت هذا إيرترا تشعت بيهرات الله عفار بلين حدارب كناما نارا راشايدا ساهو تجري قال زيهم different belief عليهم قال ما بالله أمنو قال ما Jesus Christ أمنو قال حنت ما عندك أنت بقى يسفلت أنت هزب هولي سايد لين ناتنا هزبي إذا أنت هاي مثلك إذا هاي يقدر في سرعة أنت هاي مثلك إساس مسكرسي تعدس هزبنا كوب هولي سايد لين we get along fine أنا كريستياني نعمل أوكي حدا أسلامي ودوسعي كقات من خلون حدا أسلامي إرتراون ما تخلو أنا مستأسلامي ودعدي سك إلى زنبر نصو كمان the same thing we don't have any problem here إذا إساس مسكرسي دحرا ينتخمد شيء قلز بحال إذا نا إساس أجندة تراي نتاي مثلك كفرح الناس اللي زدلي نحنا نحط علينا صحاتكم سينا نحنا والحمد ما هو because نحنا منقصي كونن علينا نير قد محجي التهزبي ناتو زخونه ناين دابا حقتات الله حدا حقي اب بهر افار ندحر له خوينو نت بهر بلين زلو ريسبكت تغاويرم زخونه نت بهر تغرينيا زلو ريسبكت تغاويرم زخونه في الله يتبحال ነገር ولا حنت يله انا نبع علي تغرينيا سبيكر ግን I stand up for the other tribes because those are my people حجيت ناي تزمص منقسسي ወይ ከም ሶማሊያ ክትቀርያ ዝዓዲ ዝበሃል ዘረባ ኣሎ no نحنا we are the same people at the end نحناتهم تشعات ብሄራት ንበሃል we are the same people ወልሓንቲ ፍልል የብልና ብፖሊስ ኣይኮንና ንመሓደር ወይ ብገለ ኣይኮንና because እቲ ዓድታት ነናቱ ዝኾነ ምሕደራ ባህል ኣለዎ ቋንቋ ኣለዎ ኣነ ሓደ ግዜ ክዕለካ ሃይ ስኩል ኣብ ዓዲ ወዲ ኣነ ሽዑ ወፂ ሃይ ስኩል ወዳኹ حجاب حدا كتما أب حدا هاجرسب ناي عصرت خلطة خفل مسودعها كستاينيرو زي ناي مسر تمرتي كتمهر عليك you have to قال حجين تايم سكيركو أبت تحت جرب كوينوم كزاربو خلو أنا حجاب زي توم best speakers بحال بعال أوباما بعال كلينتون قالوا خون قولهم أبتي تحت جرب كوينوم كزاربو خلو توم عبوتاتين عاي يجرمني حجي أتي وايت هاوس نبلو أبزع عدي أبعدنا يزورت وايت هاوس تدي قالوا because سني كزارو بخلو with respect تدي قالوا خزارو بخلو كقلتو خلو تحسابهم تقولوا منه نحنا بوليس هيدلينا the only problem نحنا زلنا إساس لو زلوا قل أبت ترايب ناتنا أتيو يبقى أسنا ننحدنا أسلامي كريستيان يلا قلنا لي يبقى أسنا نحنا هنباس قلنا نباس why because we cannot stand up for it أنا حجنت عم سلا كانت أوش تهجر زلوا سب تأثير نيجالو أبيت ما أثرت تأثيرن أب هجر سب زلون أب كتمات تأثيرن كله تأثير زلوا حزب إيرترا أنا نصحاتهم جن نعو voice كوينا كنزارك كنكل على النات حقي first of all أنا I have to free myself first I have to be free to tell the truth أب عد غير مستبصح مسأسب حق أخزارك كخلاله ما يتسرعوا ست زول حزبنا حجي كوفيد قال تعاتينا نحنا as Eritreans we don't have any problem ولا منقص انت زي الونا عز بك هذا الله ولا منقص انت توديعه بزي منقص تخنبر الحزبين عنه because سرعات نفلتنا نحن we not primitive أيكوننا كم زي قدم كم زي تمهاري قال no أبوتاتنا سلطنا سلطنا we wouldn't have any problem بهذا كلنا Then go back to your question. Then تعمل كذا ليه؟ أبزين أنا حجنا عملت أبزنا يأكل ينتف مالتي. Okay? أبو educated people are low. Doctors are low. Lawyers are low. كل low. بدي كم؟ حجتي exiles هون government جميعهم low. كم يجر كاسي institution كم يجر كا تجبره أبز هون كام. Because what if something happened? Because Isaiah he's mute Gavrat Sultan there is no fear. We're ready. Eritrean people are ready to do the transition. Well, understanding na humanity خرج عنا أديها عدين حتى بكل أخوينا أدينا وص أخوينا عند حسب الله. We have to know the difference. So as humans سنين قدم human كتكون على لك. Before you became Eritrean, you have to be human first. So when you became human, نعطيناك sense مثل ده حتى حسب بزعل حسب مالك. حجناته problem يعني حجنا عملت زناي تجراي سلمتها هم مستجراي سني تدقفوهم. It's not about تجراي. It's about my people. دكنا أموتلو يعموتلو. They are only 14, 15 years old. نحنا قلنا as humans سني عمت قبر كله عمت قبر على الناس سني voice كن قبر كن كلا لنا. وتي حجي أنا مزوم youngsters أبزي American زلوا زعبيو. توم ناتهم parents they have to tell them the truth. What's going on? أنا نوديس كنا نقول لني أبو حتنو عبايو تعمت كم ذل أو هاجرتي كفلت كخلاله. Because it's a transition real and akab Trump and Joe Biden transit gabralo. Tom kids not they know democracy. They ask you a question. No, not what days I can go on a haddi because Sina says, what are you talking about? You know, but I'm obsessed on Nash to all Eritrean brilliant here. Brilliant. Again, Nihantai, no don't crom. No Anna don't care nasi, Naadum no don't crom. We don't want to tell them the truth. If those are the people, the future of the Eritrea, you have to tell them the truth so they can do something about it. To transition, we don't even have to have an exile government to tell you the truth because Nana has been they are very educated, intellectuals. They know. ስለዚህ ምስ ብዙሓት ሃገር ምስ ብዙሓት ምሁራት ይስርሓሉ ለው ይሰርሑ ለው ከም ኣሕዋትና ድሓር ህዝቢ ኤርትራ ከዓ ኩሉ ሕጂ ፈሊጥዎ እቲ ምስጢር ናይ ህግደፍ ቀድሚ ሕጂ ባእሰና ነይሩ ሕጂ ግን we know the truth.
So well, thank you. That's a perfect explanation. So now we're going to move to Binyam. I'm going to ask you a question. You know, something that you and I have discussed before. So brother Daniel brought up a good point. So when we're dealing with the diaspora, we're dealing with the kids. Most of them don't speak Tigrina well. Again, they want to know what's going on. They don't really hate each other or Tagaru. They don't know that business. Only the grown-ups play in that little arena. And then the kids learn from the grown-ups. Because hate's taught. You're not born to hate. You're taught. Somebody has to teach you that. So Binyam, I'd like to ask you, why is it now that everyone is learning, and I need you guys to keep these explanations short as you can because we got to move. And if you're not speaking, please mute your mic on because we're getting background noise. Why is it important for us that the older generation and our parents can to teach the kids not to hate? Because we all know, we all understand. It's not us that's going to suffer. It's our children and their children when this hate continues and continues. What do you think about that?
It's very good question. I believe that, you know, us those in diaspora, we're well organized. I live in a community that's very small, so there's not that many Eritreans here. We're kind of probably 15 families, you know, but we have probably a good 100 Tigray family, and there's probably another 200 from the Amhara region family. And if you ask anyone, when we're growing up here in Fresno, California, and they're probably watching right now, if you have them on Facebook or you have them tagged to me, we developed something that's called We didn't come with flag and patriotism. And I think nationalism and patriotism is being misconstrued in Eritrea. To teach people nationalism is almost like, I see it kind of like hate, like a lot of it. You can make somebody proud, like this gentleman said, about who you are and your history and who's Hamid Ris Awate and who's, a lot of these brave people that paved the way for us to be Eritrean, not just Isaias. There's so many people need to know that. They need to go back to read from the beginning in the 60s, So here, to get back in California, we have one soccer team. We had one basketball team. We had one center where we all celebrate and party. We even had some classes where people can teach the kids Tigrinya. There was not one person that in that meeting when we're growing up here in California that would go there and teach these children how to be nationalists and how to worship Isaias or something like that, because that person probably won't come back again to that meeting, because we want children to grow up healthy. And if you ask any Eritreans out there, probably in different states, they're teaching those children the right thing. And they're probably keeping them away from all this evilness that's going on, because the adults understand deep in their heart what's going on is wrong. And they're not going to be able to communicate that with youth that are growing up here, that are well educated, and they have a lot of opportunity to Google, and see a lot of things. So I would say, I hope that we get back to where we were in the late 90s to early 2000. We're a group called New Eyes, and a lot of us, we used to meet once a year or twice a year at a festival. And it has to be nothing with politics. In fact, we used to ask the money that's being raised from that function, whether it's soccer, basketball, whatever get together festival, we want to make sure it's kept in the community to help these kids that are growing up here to learn about their country, like to learn, read, whether it's Tigrinya or Tigray or Arabic, whatever, teach them about their culture. So I think it's all begins with accountability. You as a parent, you have to make sure that your children understand a little bit about their country, but nothing about nationalism. But I'll get back to where these kids are growing up to be adults. My own nephew, who's about a year and a half ago, when he finished college, he wanted to go see Eritrea. He didn't even speak one word of Tigrinya. He went there for a month, but he ended up staying for 3 months. He came back. That kid was, when he was here, he was just a kid that graduated from college. He wasn't working much. But when he went there and he met the people of Eritrea and he got to see them, like giving them the one bed that they have, and they really don't even have that much food, but they'll cook for him and they'll rather let him eat first before they do. And their kids will come with water, hot water to wash his hand. It killed them. He came back here. He got 2 jobs. One job to go back to these people that are living outside the village of Asmara to help them, because he was feeling so guilty. How can he have so much here and the people of Eritrea that have nothing willing to give him everything? And you have to understand, we have to expose children to this type of thing without exposing them to what's going on. A lot of these people, because of what the leadership of Eritrea, they have nothing, but they still have the heart of Eritrean. They are very giving. They are very kind. And children that grow up here are the same. And it's all responsibility of the parents to do the right thing and invite them to learn things positive about their culture. And if you know one thing about every Eritrean soldier or person like me that grew up in the war, we don't show our kids anything. I won't even show them the black and white pictures that I have at an 8-year-old holding AK-47, I won't show them there because that would traumatize them. They would want to know, what is this? What happened there? Why are you sleeping in the ground with soldiers? They would want to ask questions like that. You want to protect them, but not protect them to where they don't understand their people. They don't understand their culture. So I pray that there'll be peace and they'll be exposed when the time is right, and they can go back and maybe they are the future that are going to fix and heal the country. Because like these 2 gentlemen said, the people are just people, the kindest people, and they're undeserving of what's going on right now. Whether they're in Eritrea, whether they're in Tigray, whether they're in Ethiopia, understand people that you go visit back home are very generous and kind. And I pray that the hurt stops.
Thank you, Binyam. Appreciate that. Baba Bayene, the next question for you is, have you heard anything about the EAU leaving ASAP? Have you heard anything about that?
Well, the media was a officially, of course, ኣብ ኤርትራ ዘሎ ጉጅለ ኦፊሻሊ ውጆኒ EU ወይ ከማን ኢማራት አረብ ኦፊሻሊ ካቱ ሆለው ማንም አካል ተገልጾል የለን እንታይ መደብ ገይሮም አትዮም እንታይ ዕላምኦም እንታይ ስምምዖም ምስ ኤርትራ ኩለን ዓለማት ስምምዕ ክገብራ ከለዋ ባይላተራል ሪሌሽን ክገብራ ከለዋ ውሳነታት አሎ ኣብዝና ኤርትራ ምሕደራ ከምቲ መጀመርያ ዝገለጽዎ ሕግ ዝብሎ የለን they don't have foreign policy they don't have any internal policy ሓደ ሃገር ሕግ እንድሕር ዘይብሉ ብሕጋዊ መንገዲ እንድሕር ዘይመሓደር ኮይኑ ዝኾነ ይኹን ዝገብሮ ስምምዕ ቫልዩ ይብሉ ኣብ ሃገርና ሓደ ዲክቴተር ስለ ዘሎ እዚ ዲክቴተር እዚ ኒ EU ወይ ከማን ኢማራት አረብስ እትይዎም ስለምንታይ እትይዎም ዝብል ሕቶ ምምላስ ከድሊ ኣብ ጋልፍ ኣብ የመን መንግስት ስለተቀየረ እቲ መንግስት ከዓ ምስ በዓል ስዑድያ በሃይማኖት ዲዩ በፖለቲካ ዲዩ በራእያ ዲዩ መርገጥ ዘይሰማዕ ስለዝነበረ ትባሲ ኣብ መንጎ በዓል ስዑድን ኣብ መንጎ በዓል ኢራንን ኣሎ ሓንሳብ ሪሊጅን ገብርዎ ሓንሳብ ከኣኒ ፖለቲካ ገብርዎ ብዙሕ ነገር እዩ ዘለዎ very complicated ዝኾነ situation እቲ ኤሪያ ዘሎ እዞም ኣካላት እዚኣቶም ንየመን ከሃርሙ ስዑድን ኢማራት አረብን ዝቀረበ ካብ ዓሰብ ንየመን ሲ ዳርጋ ናይ ሰዓታት ስለ ዝኾነ ንየመን መታን ከጥቅዑ ኣካሪዎም እዚ ሕጂ ህዝቢ ኤርትራ ፓርላማ ኤርትራ ዝብሎ ነገር የለን ኢሳያስ ይዋና እንታይ ብምንታይ ተሰማሚዑ ንሱ ጥራሕ ይፈልጦ ሕጂ ካብ ብምንታይ ውጾም ኣሎ ንሱ ጥራሕ ይፈልጦ ግን እቲ ጂኦፖለቲክስ ኣብቲ ከባቢ ዝኸይ ዘሎ ሕጂ ይቕየር ስለ ዘሎ እዚ ኣክሽን ዝተወስደ ኣብ ልዕሊ ትግራይ እቲ ብኣብይ ዝምራሕ ናይ ፌደራል መንግስቲ ጥራሕ ኣይኮነን ዝሃርሞ ዘሎ ኤርትራ ብምሉእ ሓይሊ ኣትዩ ሶማልያ ብምሉእ ሓይሊ ኣትዩ ንሪኦ ኣለና ናይ ሶማል ህዝቢ እንታይ ይለዓል ከም ዘሎ ከምዚ ናይ ኤርትራ ህዝቢ ይኮነን እንደገና ሳውዲ and ኢማራትስ ከዓ ብድሮን ገይረን በቲ ቴክኖሎጂ ዝፈጠሮ ሰብ ዘይብለን ነፈርቲ ገይሮም ኣብ ልዕሊ ተጋሩ መጥቃዕቲ ፈፂሞም ኣብ ሰራዊት ይኹን ኣብ ህዝቢ ዓለም ሪኦ ኣሎ እዚ እቲ ቀድም ዝመርሕ ዝነበረ ናይ ኣሜሪካ ሱቅ ኢሉ ይሪእዎ እዚ ሓዲስ ዝመፀ ግን መጀመርያ እቲ ድሮን መጥቃዕቲ ኣብ ልዕሊ ተጋሩ ዝወረደ ጠጠው ክብል ዝኾነ ይኹን ደገፍ ከምዘይ ገብረሎም ትእዛዝ ኣመሓላሊፉሎም ሓደ ካልኣይ ንየመናውያን ኣብነን ንሕድሕዶም ኣብ ጠረጴዛ ኮፍ ኢሎም ሽግሮም ክፈትሑ እውን ኦርደር ገይሮም ንስዑድያን ንኢማራትን ከዓ ኢድኩም ሓዙ ተባሂሎም ትእዛዝ ተማእዝሎም ካብዚ ዝናቐለ ኢማራት አረብስ ወረን ስጥራ ሓኮን ተወሳኹን ኣሎ ኣብ ልዕሊ ኢትዮጵያ ወይ ከም ኣብ ልዕሊ ተጋሩ ዝተፈጸመውን ከም ናይ በሓቅ ዓቢ ፖይንት ኮይኑ ክጥቀሙ ከም ዘይብሎም ካብቲ ዓዲ ከኣኒ ካብቲ ውግእ ክወፁ ከም ዘለዎም ትእዛዝ ስለተኣዘዙ ሰላሕ ኢሎም ከም ሰራቂ ይወፁ ኣለዉ ይበሃል ሕጂ እዚ ብፅሑፋት ንሪኦ ዘለና እዩ ክወፁ ድዮም ከይወፁ ክንሪኦ ኢና ጉዕዞ ምክንያቱ እቲ ሽፍታ ናይ ኣስመራ ውፃእ ሰራዊትካ ተባሂሉ ክሳብ ሕጂ ኣሎ ከም ዝበሃል ከማን ኣይወፅን ይብል ኣሎ ብሎ እንታይ ክገብሩ ዊልሲ ሕጂ እንታይ እዩ እዚ ናይ ዲክታተራት ስምምዕ ስለ ዝኾነ እቲ ኣብ ኣስመራ ዘሎ ጉጅለ ከዓ ንኢማራት አረብስ ፈቂዱሎም ኣብ ዓሰብ ጠጦ ክሕዙ ክካረይድዮም ዋላ ክውንኑ እዮም ንፈልጦ ነገር የለን ነቶም ኣብኡ ዘሎ ኣሕዋትና ደቂ ደንከል ክንደይ ፀገማት ኣስሒኖሞም እዮም ክንደይ ሽግር ፈጢሮም እዮም ዓሳ ናብ ባሕሪ ወፊሮም ዓሳ ንኸይምፁ ከልኪሎም እዮም ከምዚ ግራት ህዝቢ ኤርትራ ሕዲጉ ድላይ ዝገብሮ ዘሎ ነቶም ኣሕዋትና ደናክል ከዓኒ ንሳ ነራታ እቶቶም ንዓውን ከልኪልዎም ኣሎ ማለት እዩ መን እዮም ዝኽልክሎም ዘለዉ የመን እዞም ኢማራት ዝኽልክልዎም ኣለዉ حج انت كبل دلي انا بتحطها مس كوصو يقولوا يا مغنياتو زم عدي انت عزيزهم حنت معلتون خصون حيكون مغنيات سوي زكالا قولهم زلو قال زلوا مراخب نعون زكالا قلا زلوا نتناتهم هاجر نتناتهم تحسو من بترول تفعل عليه نجارات سلازي بدي أمس تحليهم زخد زلوا أتون تايلهم ماتوا وصن تايلهم موصي ممالتي زي فلوس زخنا نجاري جن تشجر نعناون بزح شجرات قريفلنا أيو زخي زل سرعات نتخيلسي بزح صجام كلنا أيو زخنا خوينو جن تي ناي إمارات موسى خاب إيرتا كون انداخونا خيد على يبال بزح رومر سونا له نسول حن نقدف رومر سلو زخونه كساب اوفيشال زوص نجر جن يوص خن زلوا حبريتات له بعلي جنا اي جلس مهنياتو اتو خلو بعلي جلسه حجون الحرخوص خوينم بعلي جلسني راح خمس خلو بتي اكو زله حزبينا هنفلط نخل ودا حنكا
Thank you. Okay, perfect. So, Brother Daniel, up next to you. There's a lot of questions that's confusing the younger generation. It's not confused. It's a confusion that lost. يردعنا you جبهة شعبية زربانة كرم زنبرة يردعنا. Again, Hiji, what is the difference between شعبية and Higdef? What is the difference? Because I see a lot of people شعبية Higdef أخون كون يبلو. Some of them كاني شعبية Higdef يبلو or Viva la شعبية يبلو. Could have take confuse you governor. If you can speak on that point.
Okay. أبتنا مجمريا زحدت كايا تي سوبر باور كونوز دليو هاجرات اللو أفريقيا. جاتهم جن أمنت أتوم قطر تركي and إيران بحد جروبين حد الله يجي. أتوم قالوا كأني إمارات سعودي and Egypt كلتهم جي سوبر باور. جن تاي جورزي أبتي أفريقيا حد عينت ناي بزنس بلانس لازم نورم كلمات هيزو أبزح جي حد problem على. مس أبين مس إسياسن بين ديل كجورو خلو إمارات إتهم Western countries I felt to name. That's the problem comes here. هجي Americans مس follow to دا يكونوا تأجم تفتيروا مالتي. إتي درام كلمات جزء خلو خب على China. نزيه حزبي خدب دبوا يكون أنت جزيو. There's some kind of agreement when you buy weapons from different countries. أنا قم درد عني. هجي تاوينو United States getting into their business مالتي. هجي what happened? توم إمارات يوصلوا مالتي. كابتي عسب. إساس جن عن عسب ككاريا خلو بعدي زكاريا. كم زي جزاها مشالو rental properties. مفتاح جر كات عطوا أوكي كاتبهم الحروت أبكا غوتص. You know. إيرترا جن نا إيرتراوين. نا إساس يكونت نا يقل يكونت. هجي ماني زخلو زخافلو زل تي برايس كمان زخافلو ذل كان كلها نخافلو لنا. أنا بأمريكا أمت ألهم. تحب يسافر لتني بأمريكا because عدي الناس فوت. You know. حزبي إرتراسي هو حاجوري يفوت. حزبي إرترا حزبي يفوت. إتي temporary يبزين عنا مالتي. إتي حزبنا جن second citizen كوين نبرالو أتعلم. كم زعنا حجة كلا citizen لني United States. إرتراوين عدك عدي. توم حواتي جن second citizen كوين نبرالو. حجنوسين عها زهر أكاويك we have to do something قالت بالمالتي. حجي أتيناي allies ناي international زعوتو at the expense of that كلهم فمقولنا موتو دكنا موتو whatever it is مالتي. They don't care بعضو. نابتامي جبرات بركان حطوا مالتي. أبتاع allies بركا جدفن زوا قمبارن والأبتريزات يا حتزار بيجي. أبتريزات مال الناس لكا زوا قمبارن ده دانيرهم تقاليسهم هاجر أمتيهم. هجي business قبل ما at the end of the day سني تبنفيت ناتكاس انتا إلكا measurement على كا أمانتي. هجي أنا بزعباتنا ودبات بزوج تطلق إلى خالله كايكني من البات هاتو بينه زيادة يفضلون بزعبو. أنا نقريه هاللغو ህዝባ ግንባር ኣነ ሰለስተ ኣሕዋተይ ኣብ ሜዳ ተሰዊኦም ማለት እዩ ስለዚ ንዓይ እታ ሃገር ክትመፅእ ከላ ብክንደይ ስዋዓት ከም ዝመፅእ ይርዳእኒ ኢና because I pay the price ናትና ስድራና ስኒ ቢሎም ሕጂ ኢማጂን ደቅኻ ተሰዊኦም ክንደይ ኣብ ህዝባዊ ግንባር ምስ መፁ እቲ ኖርማል ፋሚሊ ከይኑ ክቕፅል ኣይክእልን እዩ ወዶም መይትዎም እዩ እንታይ ስለካ እቲ ኣብ ውግእ ዘሎ ጥራሕ ኣይኮነን ከምዚ ሓወይ ዶክተር ዝገልፆ ፀኒሑ እቲ ውግእ ዘሎ ጥራሕ ኣይኮነን ናይ ሜንታል ሄልት ናይ ሜንታል ፕሮብለም ዘለዎ ኩላና ሜንታል ፕሮብለም ኣሎ እቲ ህዝቢ ኩሉ ስኒ ከምኡ ፕሮብለም ኣሎ ዋይ እንድሕር ደኣ ደቅኻ ሰዲድካ እንድሕር ዘይተመሊሶም okay at least كمان تايتو مسلكا صبوق منغست لنا حجي at least they did this on the other hand انت خوين هيقدر مسمص انت خوين مسلكا كم عماصي سب انت لك زينا ابزي neighborhood زلو tag كوميوم صار they don't care about hizbi كبلع ديو medicine አለው ወዶ shelter አለው ወዶ أنا أبز ختمات اللي كسدلي كله بيبكي لمنتاي أنا خعبه الله لما أنا يريني نيرو عادي بزح لما أنا ينبرنا عادي حجة خاني every corner أبو هاجرنا حنت سبيت نحس قديموا ختل من يحفره حدا سوا يحفره حجة رأيه أفقدوا بوتاتات لما أنت بزيهم سلامنتاي دوكم يلون ناتنا كالتشر كمان مسلكا تودها مسعبي أبوها نبوها نديها صراحة تكير تقولون كم زنا إذا عاد النرسين هم يدربوا خوا كم زبالة له كاب جنريشن ناب جنريشن كم حاجة جيس كحت نبى هذا زلوا سبب ناتها غربيت كان حرالو أوروب ركاب مستحيل الشير جريز نبى كم تعاني زول كخان عنده ويسينا هنا عبرة سبسي بتعامل معبولي رجعنا الديفرنس إنه يقدر إنه هزوا جنبار الناس تمسي يقدر مسمى سخنتا يجيرهم الحين كان refugees فتيران من أسيات كثير أتي generation كأبولو زقبو أتي منجستي تستا كن مهاري كأنا university عاتي أبسا واحد ولا أخي كله سني it is torture imagine no ودها قرب عبد بلس قد يفك أخي أبتاز كجوبزلاز كلمة أتخبى أسولون كمالا كمحاشلون حنقوله تقامون باقزين سوا أخي أبسوا مسكرة شعو تسبنا توصلوا كن سب عايز هون شعو ناتهم بابت كوين برمانه ساتهم بتناتهم أجندة خود مالتي حجي زي know exactly now نتي حبرتها كم يجيرون demolish كم تقولوا فولتيو
Okay.
To Philippines needs clearly because they million refugees are alone, including myself. I'm refugee here. America is not my country. كلنا. حجة الرزالة ها زارول زلك هذا يقدر نحرم شيء خمسة جيرو والزواج ما كنت هاجيرو كم حجة جن أنا نتاعي نايتي ودبات كزارب قاضي كونه عتحزب خمسة زاربنا حزب ناسي أبصر عتسي كم يعلوج تايجر برالو هزي إلى من مقالة
All right. Thank you, brother. Binyam, you're next on the chopping block, brother. Keep your phone intact. Make sure you got to invest in a stand or something.
I'm looking at my farm and talking to you at the same time. That's the problem.
Oh, all right. Understood. So the question for you is, we saw the refugees and Tigray, you know, Baritum Eritrea, we missed. Respectfully speaking, we understand Tagarus are going through a lot right now. But right now, my question to you is in respect to the Eritrean refugees that were in Mekelle, I think, and then they got moved to Addis Ababa, Mish. But then dictator or Abiy Ahmed gave them to Isaias Afwerki. What do you think they do with the refugees there? The displaced refugees, the ones that didn't escape, that they came and got in the middle of the night, ዝሃቦም ንኢሳያስ አፈወርቂ ኣበለው ሞይቶም ድዮም ተቐቢሮም ድዮም እንታይ ስማዓካ?
Again, I'm going to defer that question probably to Baba Bayene. He's probably the most qualified person, but I can tell a little bit from an American.
Give me your opinion.
Yeah, well, I can also tell you from an experience. Me, before I went to the medicine field, I was recruited by United States, out of college, graduate school, to go to when they were looking for Osama bin Laden, and they were looking for, again, in Iraq, they were looking for, gosh, forgive me, but Saddam Hussein. So Americans are very intelligent. Americans probably know where you and me had dinner 3 days ago, if we want to look up information logistics. They recruited me because why? I'm fluent in Arabic. I was in Sudan, Kassala, for 13 years. I went education there, and America needed people like me who can read and understand clearly what's going on in Middle East, and they were going to go hunt Bin Laden, and they're going to go hunt Saddam Hussein. So they need people to dig in and look at the information, just not wait for communication that's coming for a terrorist reason, So I learned a lot. I learned a lot from American. I learned how CIA work. I learned how intelligence work. I learned how war works. Before America can come and Bush tell you at 1800, we're going to go ahead and start Operation Freedom Iraq, which is BS. We know what's going on, when it comes to politics. We understand it from democracy from America. But the way it functions, and again, if you look back to history, when the border conflict started between Eritrea and Ethiopia, and TPLF, probably Meles Zenawi and his group were in charge, there were, I believe, an exchange of disposing people on both sides, from Eritrea and from Ethiopia. And actually, Meles got carried away, and he disposed 74,000 Eritreans from Addis Ababa and other places, and even went to TV and said, if we don't like the color of your eyes, we can kick you out. And many Eritreans that had Eritrean identity and identity Meninet, Eritrean passport, that were residing in Ethiopia and Addis Ababa were not given heads up by Eritrea, by Asmara. So they lost their business, they lost everything. There was the same thing that's going on right now. There was a lot of, looting, taking their belonging, rape, you name it. I mean, just because we didn't have public media and we didn't have, Twitter, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have all these things in our hand that we can go live and say, hey, stop it. A lot of us were getting involved here in America, where we're writing letters to Congress, writing letters to senators, saying the atrocity that's happening at that time is unbelievable. And it got into a place where two countries were considered the most hungry and starving country, exchange war on the highest level, like on the ground and in the air, like for Air Force versus Air Force, and you name it. So I want to
do you think that is the reason why for Isaias's revenge now, because of that?
I will tell you one thing. I think I probably won't, as much as I've met Isaias myself 2 times, I would not say I know Isaias better than any Eritrean, You have to understand the mindset of someone that been in war so many times, severe PTSD, and nobody hold grudge worse than Isaias Afwerki. And Eritreans, we're very passionate people, and sometimes, our response has always been this way. It's been through military action, because we're not given freedom. We're told to come and take it if we need it, And nobody gave it to us by pen and paper, and nobody gave it to us by any things. One thing you can say about Tagaro, with all due respect, we needed them, because after war, we needed them to sign our referendum, So we're able to tolerate the Tigrayan and the EPLF. Understand, the TPLF and EPLF are almost identical in their operation, in their way of attending to actions. They're almost the same. They fought together, so they know each other better than me and you know them. So I want to get back to your question. When it comes to deploring your people, when it comes to attacking your people who are refugee seeking, whether they're in Sudan or they're in Magale or you name it, from what I heard from an American perspective, what I've gathered that a lot of them that were given choices, this is what they say, that if you have an identity Eritrea and you want to go back to Eritrea and live in Eritrea, to take that the same way that they will tell them, if you want to live there, they have to take another identity. But this does not mean that they're not facing the same hardship the people of Tigray are, in fact, maybe twice as hard, because they are looked at people that betrayed their people and living in a land where is Tigray, you know? So these Eritreans are a high risk also, you know? And we have to be compassionate, because there's a lot of people that are thinking, you know, what's going on in Tigray is just affecting Tagaro and stop the war and immediate withdrawal of Eritrean from Tigray, which I agree about, you know? But also there are Eritrean that were there that were meeting with hierarchy like Mesfen Hagos and many, you know, because Tigray, when they were in charge there, and I want to get back to the real meat here, because this was gonna make a lot of Tagaro upset. We have to talk about how did this war start and how it got to what it is. So there were people on both sides, in Eritrea side and on the Tigray side, that were not willing to put their differences. They were working on how to like change each other leadership. They were working how to make each other basically next grade. They were not working in fixing the problem. They were adding the problem. They were adding the problem in Eritrea. They were adding the problem in Maghreb. And you have to understand there are people, and the people are the one that being punished for what happened. The innocent people of Tigray, the innocent people of Eritrea that seek refuge in those areas, and they're suffering. In fact, right now, you know, I've seen images, civilians just getting murdered, you know, just young civilians, you know. This is genocide, you know. This is disgusting. Dr. Abai, and the D is not for a doctor. Actually, the D is for dictator. So anybody in Horn Africa, you put a D in front of them, don't put a PhD or a medical doctor. They are dictators. So they are basically not coming to forward and saying, enough, let's stop it. This is ugly. It's going to only turn uglier. So the people of Eritrea are suffering. The people of Ethiopia, Amhara are suffering. The people of Oromo, people, again, people, you guys put aside the leadership, the people of Eritrea, they're suffering. So just like this gentleman said, when a lot of people, when this thing is over, they're not going to even farm to eat because their children that were helping them in the farm are dead. The people that are poor always losing their children. Those leaders always going to escape, go to Zimbabwe or go to America and hide with their family. And this is disgusting. This is the lifestyle of Saddam Hussein, who was not thinking that America would show up and hang him under a tree with his family, that Osama bin Laden wasn't thinking that a US SEAL system will get there and take him out. The only reason that America is not sending a SEAL system, and America have 725 soldiers right now in the Horn of Africa in 2 vessels, and they see these clear images of what's going on. The only reason they don't participate because they signed that law in Somalia. They will no longer go inside and take side between 2 Africans when they're killing each other, especially in Ethiopia. It's Ethiopian versus Ethiopian. Even though Tagaro going to come right now, they're not Ethiopian. Just in the past, they were saying they were Ethiopian, you know? So America is not going to go there and stop it. America would do a PR and say, this is wrong. But in the long term, this is going to be resolved by us African, by us saying, enough. This is another Rwanda that's going on right now. It's disgusting, you know? And we have to stop it. I'm sorry if I've answered your question. And if I do step out, I get a page, someone call, I will come right back.
Okay, thank you, Bam. You did answer my question, but check it out. So here's the deal. So as a moderator, I shouldn't have an opinion either, but I will tell you this. Knowing what combat and war is, ስርዓት ሕጊ ኣለዋ ውግእ ወተሃደር somebody has background noise ወተሃደር እንድሕር ንውግእ ኸይዱ ብሕጊ እዩ ዝኸይድ ማለት እንድ ሕማቅ ገይረ ሓላፊ ይቀፅዓኒ እዚ ትንሪኦ ዘለና ጉዳይ ኣብ ትግራይ ዘሎ ምሽ ብዛዕባ ኤርትራያን ኣብዝ እትዮምኦ ዘለዉ ከምቲ ወተሃደር ኣነ ዝፈልጦ እዚ ብሕጊ ኣይኮነን ማለት the situation in Tigray is not occurring in a professional soldier type manner. This is a free for all. Now, the issue I have with this is if soldiers were fighting soldiers, if Eritrean and Ethiopian Amhara soldiers were fighting TPLF, fine. I understand. War is war. May the best team win, right? Chess move. More power, you win. Here's the problem though. If Itiam Hara Watahader Kababinai Tigray Atsiwo Yuhofto Baziwagan Nati Eritrawi Watahader Yutuo. Bazishanach Kani Neti militia, na Amhara militia Tiam Hizbi, na Watahader Crown Timalisam, Adimu Haradu Yulom. Harai Lomka, Seletna Tom Awatsium, Yahardu Yumutsu. Bazahani, Tiam Eritrean soldier comes to Gobru low. Okay. بخلو يهرم لو با حمش تسراويت مش إزاي وقع أخوانه كم وتهادر كقال كله زوقع أخوانه إزاي بهال genocide كم تنحنا زبلو زلنا جن genocide حليفوس نبكالا أتيلو مالتي إتهز بين النفس خلا خلمي إتسراويت ناي TPLF زبلو هاني guerrilla warfare أتي after mountains allo menu نتي هزبي Zidugufo. Many net hizbi zawats o. Many net hizbi protect zigobro. It has been her to wagiu bush but eat gerum kukotoli. Abi not to alama sa. Isaias Caslats alone. It has been subsidugufo yellan. No one protects gobro yellan. Nebainom kam galagarum later watsu kaimatsu bibel etirali katamatsalahu hom nizriin istam'ala. Gin many 100% zgobro dollar nukhuli it blames khayd malat it Ethiopian Amhara soldiers orchestrates las gavarwa khababi protects las gavarwa Eritrean I gavarwa kutubulait khaniha Amhara I gavarwa kutubulait khaniha. You know why? Cuz we don't know inta is honzalo. We just know testimony like his business arbuzalo comes gerum كم زيجرمنا اتيوم تجارها ندك عدم دويلهم تخوينكم كم زيجرمنا اتشجر زلوس اندحر وات يوزن اجت زي حتوت نعخاي بابا بياني زي حتوت اتي حق نجر مسوتت ارتراوي وتهدر اي جبرونكم او يبلو انا هاي سمع له نتي ان سبيتي تمام حروك عمت سوان كاي دغفون له سمع له يسمع خاني عمت وان ارتراو خان سمع لنا حوسوا سمع لنا اتنا قرمس واتس in the hair ارتراوي soldiers in the hair عميتهم كما يقرنا إناز نقر نفتحو دحراي نحنا بزن نزارب علم جينا في مدرزلو experience قبرولو بابا بيان نقن ميت سلاسها leaders سلاسبونكا كما يقرنا إنا in her true matthew is in أجرنا فتح كما جرنا حولنا peace نجبر مش حواتنا تي قريبتنا تجارب.
أبتي قدمي لحطوتات زتحت حطو على حو دانيال ودي قبل كان اشتحوي قبل كان وين بزعبا تموكرو نايزن كلته ودبات كمان يرزبل حسر زبلاي تنكف بلي حلفه مجمريا اذن ودبات بعلامه انت خوينو نهاجر نص اخوص ايدن وسين جنا بجباب اقاقمه ان بيني نيرو هزباو غمبار حرنت إرترا هزباو حالتات حرنت إرترا إتي ونانا ناي سلطان آف ناي معباس نتوم كإلاتاتن مهوراتن زبهالو مدفع بقس مسبلا يجميرو نحادي مهور democratic opinions هبكا أكايدانا قوي يالو كمزين تخدنا زحاشي إزبلكا اتناتو حساب اتناتو ديليت قنوع مراح انت خوينو انت راز مرح اللي خوينو تقبلوا غزيان كناتاتن حليو اب تكبار يوعل انبر نستمهر اكالكا نفلات اكالكا ندافعها ندا اسركا ازي حجي اب ارسا زكايزلو سبو سيدوم اب اسر بيت اتوو بزي فردي كساب زموتا وصنح تمال زفتر يكون كاب سبعان كلتن سبعان سلسن تبقس جمري بايزوي هزبا حالتات سبعان حدنيو جميرو سلازي كجمر كله خاني تقالو حرنة إرترا تقتلنا الله خم ببال قطاس نكريستيان تقتل الله خم ببال بوليتيكا يتوقيسو حق ديو حسد ديو انتاي أبي زبل حتو زي بزحم أفتاريك توقص تقولهم كنت ما بقص قوي ما هزبا عمر حرنا هزبا حالتا حرنا إيرا انت حرب تقال حرنا إيرا كريستيان يوم تباهيلهم قطولين يرم اتوم قطولو زنورو هزبا حالتات كنت أميل كانت حرحاتيتك درجات ساعة شعتن كان ميت كريستيان يميرهم الجبوتاتنا انت يبلغهم السلوخ اللوبزي ملسا قولوس تطقو يبلغ قولون تغيركا تطقون تغيركا نساتا سرنا ديا ولا سقم نساء حجي تمغتاليو جن ابزي انت اي خوينو تي تيوري ناي كومونيزم اتحساسبا خمي غيركا سلطان تحس ناتهم بلان حزوم يوم كيدوم ناي بعد شاينا يقول ناي بعد راشا يقول هو كيرس كلهم عادي من عي ازيتي اقوى نايتي كوم إلو خيدو دحر حدا نجر خين رسع هزوا حالتات ناب هزوا قمار كخيد كله دحرنا عدا اتيون ناب هقدف كخيد كله انكم راح زنبره اساسي حبري يغير نيرم بل تحلمن تسغبارن حدا عيني زغي صنيحو امون قوت قال لحرنا اترا نبره تقال لحرنا اترا تفرز خالت دخمتنا يا مرارحن كومون هزوانا ويانا حرنتن وجي زي هزوا قمبارن تسامعوا يهرموا زي حجي انا تاريخ امصي نصل ان راح نتنك فطر اليكم كن تاريخ هيستوري كساب نحنا زي إثيوبيا دحري بدحرو تقعزو هزوا قمبارن ويانا نصاوصي معدي حجي تفللو انت اب تقال لحرنا اترا اتي ديمقراسي مورزان ناخبتي حلوف نيرو كاب ديسيبلين ديمقراسي زعبلو نيرو كاسرو يتعلن that's why internally and externally failure هزبا قمبار جن اتي ديسيبلين يز حيل نيرو خاب ديمقراسي that's why is result زي مسئنا زيتي في اللي نوري من الباب بتقال حنا إرفع نساوس أنا تتخونس انت يكون مخانا زبل حتو إذا speculation مهابة يدلني كلتي أنت سامع الناس أو تين هني رنت زغانجن تبصل زغان الديمقراطي ممس أن يربح عليه كلاي إتي نايتسعن شو من تنستفتره وجه by default زوجي لزلو أبسمرة نسي فتيروه خبر كله جن إتي أمن هيجورين مالك هيكونن الله تاريخ تقتلوا سبات الله نعوم ريفنج مقبار ما تقعد تخايدوا مالتي كم ده خيد ديرو نو أبدو كل جزء حجي أمنتعنا هنرزق لنا نحنا من السودان دوبال لنا من إثيوبيا دوبال لنا تزغرب من السجراي مالتيو كمون من جيبوتي دوبال لنا بدو كن صحاب نقلنا نحنا بعلنا بدليتنا الحنصصنا يكونن جزات الحنصصوي حجي تدوب جن انت زي سامعك أتربيزا خطفوت حمبر ببرس هاي تفتحونها always حجي أفريقيا كلن نايروب شجرا لون جن تواجين دحر أتربيزا مسا إزاي تشجع زولنا أفريقيا وين كالي دانيال مثلاً بنيام مثلاً تنكيفوا بزعبا نايت ساعان شو منتن وق عبجي جاي تجيرو بيثوبيان عبجي جاي تجيرو بإرفان عبجي جاي تجيرو جيجا انتايو سب الكوين زنبر زول سلام أو سب بحيلي نبروت حديكا كدنا عد خالك أي سجوجني إذا inhuman ينبعلو عدي زنبرو لنا حد جبزة أمريكا نبرالنا قال سبوق زخانة هو زلوا مالو ماليسي مليونير سالو ميدل كلاس سالو من البعض أمونغو إيرفان أمونغو أمريكان تحرب أسقينس نبروتكم قريبكم كدنا عدكم الكان صلاة راح تخلينك أي سددني إذا هيماني تزيبلو سراحي تجاري بإرسال تجاري بإثيوبيا هات زبزحي أب إثيوبيا سلز نبرة ما عاد هبطان نبرة إرساوي العيل سمانة شح تقول تسوقي إذا هالتاريخ مزجوبي ولاون إثيوبيا نحنا خنمالالس كلنا زحتو حتى نيرناينا نفس محر تقلال منستر ملس زيناوي نتنجر بأول نبرتهم كم لصلمون لي تملسن توم توصلوا من فوتو أنا بو speculation كبايلني حجي تشجر أبي يزورلو زبل حتى زوج أمونغو أبين أمونغو حزب تجري ويانا تفترة تقدم أي جبانية أبي مخنياتو تجري أكل إثيوبيا كم زفلت أنا إثيوبيا حقلهم نتشجرهم نصهم بعلم كوفي لهم أطرب بيضاء فوق بقنيرو أنت زي كيلهم كأ بعلم نحلهم كواجو مسألوني نحنا نيرساويان مسبعاسو مونغونياتات كوينا خنعطو منغستات نابن السودان إرترا جيبوتي كومون كينيا ساوث السودان إزيهم أتخباب سلزلو وعجب نتاج يقول لهم سبعة تطفو إلو خاطوهم إزي قبوي أبي زلو سراويتنا إثيوبيا كلن كللات استحوسوا ترني فيهم تخلو نتجارو خهرم كله أنا أيكلو مني سلازم نعو إرترا حجزوني نعو سوماليا حجزوني نعو إمارات عرب حجزوني له نهزبو نناتو هزبو زمرحو ذلو نسوكو أي وحزو بحكي هذا قنع منقسم بحرقوينو نايتي هاجر نايتا كل بوملا وحس اتمنقسي ببوليتيكا فلالو يخول يمين بوتادرات تهرارهم يخول يمين جن منقس أواج أوجو أطفئوا من هزب تجراي مبال إذا كدعتوا مجمع يزيد هذا كالاي تعواننا يا سمرا وجلة أمنا هنا أبزينا هنا وداي آتيو قدوفوت مقتال قدوفوتي ريب مقبار قدوفوت مزراف إزي نبولي زي حدوت وتهدراسي بحقي تمريحهم زي كل وتهدرات أبزي ملكوتهم بوتان حرقتيهم زغل الشجر كفت أرمخانو إزي ردي إحنا مسهز بتقراي كيم يبلنا كيم انتو اليوم تم هقلفنا تم قداي مسهز بتقراي أمونغو يانن أمونغو هزبال قنبارنجن نوحي زي بأسي يبازو يعرقو نايتاني كيم الله أمنا نحل عدم but that is them حزب تقراين حزب إرسال ولا حزب محرة أمنا في حجي كابا محرة ريت ست راح تقاطع إيركا أنت تقاطع إيركا إثيوبيا هم جبران غير يقولوا إذا حلمي يقولوا يعني حلم يسموه بالعرب حلم بإنجليش كأني دريم بتقرينيا حلمي يقولوا حاليمهم كله وسي أبقى إحنا حربت إحنا لنا قرقسوم عصب بس إحنا لنا إلهم حلموا له أمحرة تحلموا لهم جن عدنا تدفيرة أبمحرة سلمتها تدفيرة إذا عوانا بس مرازلو إتهم تمارخوا بإرساويان جدانو إتهم تمارخهم استفتحوا بنفار إتقرم عدنا أتيهم تقرأ كهرمو زير السعزي سنبراتي إتهم شانجا قرم عديتاتنا زقردو إتهم بتانكي قرم زلوغوصو بعد برهان جولة زلو جول إزي أمام رقيس أمام مريتنا كنزينا قبوروسي تتعقع هقدف أنتم عوانات كنزينا قبورو أمحارة سوقنا يوم كوكيبنا بسودان زهدمنا يوم سوقنا أمسي بنفاريج قرم مريتنا خلوص تتعقعو نايبا حق بدوهم زموتو هقدف مالك ساعات هقدف مالك مش كم إرسالان كوتصارو ذاتو كم سدتنيا بإرساونا يكوتصارو نيمة قبنينيا تاتيو they are criminals كابتوم أبنيو زهتصوم زلو أبلعلي سراوي إرسال زموتو زلو عقب أكن مبال إذا عينت زي موسادم نايبا حقي قبنينيا تاتيو criminals أبتم قولعو من إساء أبوتاتكم مسقرف زلو إذا كرايمز قبر زلو أب إرسا بحلافنت كتحطوكم من دحري نسهم هم تكأتي نايولو له بحلافنت كتحطوكم بس هزب تفوق زلو إتكم تحاو بهلاي ስለዚህ ንሕና እቲ ዝተገብረ ታሪክ ቅድሚ ሕጂ ኣይንመልሶን እየ ተገብረ ታሪክ ክምለስ ኣይክእልን ፍታሕ ግን ከመይ ይገብር ኣብ መንጎ ህዝቢ ትግራይን ኣብ መንጎ ህዝቢ ኤርትራን ንመጻኢ ጉዕዞ ከመይ ክኸውን እዩ ዝብል ሕቶ ዝቐሊል እዩ ህዝቢ እኮ ይተባእሰን ዘበኣሰ እዞም ዘለዉ ኣዛብ ኣብ ስልጣን ዘለዉ ንሶም እዮም ዘበኣሱ ዘለዉ ኣብ ምኻድናቶም ኣብ መንጎ ህዝቢ ትግራይን ህዝቢ ኤርትራን ኣብ መንጎ ህዝቢ ሱዳንን ኣብ መንጎ ህዝቢ ኤርትራን ኣብ መንጎ ዓፋርን ኣብ መንጎ ኮታ ጅቡትን ዋላ ናይ ኢትዮጵያ ዓፋርን ዋላ ሓንቲ ፀገም የለን ተዋሊድና ዘርኢ ኣለና ሕውነት ኣለና ፍቕሪ ኣለና ዛስዋይ እኮ ብሓባር ኮይና ዓገብ ንብል ዘለና ገለገለ ዓዋናት ኤርትራውያን ተቃወምቲ ኢና ዝብሉ ደገፍቲ ኢና ዝብሉ ሰላማዊ ሰልፊ ውግእ ጠጠው በል ኢልካ ምውፃእ ከም ነውሪ ገይሮም ዝቆፅርዎ ኣለዉ ነውሪ ይኮነን ተባዓት እዚ ሂማኒቲ ንዝኾነ ሰብ ኣብ የመን ተገብረ ወፂና ኢና ተዛሪብና ኢና ኣብ ሶርያ ተገብረ ወፂና ኢና ተዛሪብና ኢና ኣብ ሊብያ ተገብረ ወፂና ኢና ተዛሪብና ኢና ሂማኒቲ ሓደ ንጹህ ሰብ ኣብ ገዙ ዝነብር ሰሪሑ ዝኣቱ ተጠቂዑ ክመውት እዚ ኢንሁማን ዝኾነ ስራሕ እዩ ነዚ ደው ክንብል ኣለና ውግእ ጠጠው በል ማለት ንወያነ ምሕጋዝ ማለት ኣይኮነን ውግእ ጠጠው ማለት ምባል ናይ ህግደፍ ወይ ከዓ ናይ ኮታ ናይ ኢትዮጵያ ሰራዊት ምሕጋዝ ማለት ኣይኮነን ሰላማዊ ህዝቢ ከይጉዳእ ሰሪሑ ዝነብር ብሰላም ክነብር ንዓና እውን ስለ ዝትንክፈና ንሕና እውን ከምኡ ከይንቆስል ደው ይበል እቲ ወፊሩ ዝዋጋእ ዘሎ ህፃን ከዓ ሰሪሑ ኣብ ክንዲ ንስድርኡ ዝዕንግል ንደቁ ዝዕቢ ስለምንታይ ኣብ ዘይኮነ ውግእ ዝመውጥ ኢና ንብል ዘለና እምበር እዞም ዓዋናት ደገፍቲ ህግደፍ ያይ ሰላማዊ ሰልፊን ተወፃኻ ገለ ተቃውሞ እውን ኣለዉ በቃ ሪዘርቭ ዝኾኑ እዚ ዕሽነት እዩ ዛቱ ንምንታይ ትቃለስ ኣለኻ ከማን ዘይምፍላጥ እዩ ሰላም ንጎረቤትካ ምምናይ እንታይ ሕማቕ ኣለዎ ቅርሕንተይ ይነብርን እዩ ብቅርሕንተይ ሰላም ኣይትነብር ብቅርሕንተይ ፍታሕ ኣይተምፅእ ሕጂ እውን እዞም ዝዋግኡ ዘለዉ ዝሞቶ ሞይቱ ኣብ ጠረጴዛ ኮፍ ኢሎም ዝፈትሕዎ እንታይ ክኾኑ ውፅኢቱ ናቶም ጉዳይ እዩ ስለዚ ንሕና ምስ ጎረባብትና እዚ ስርዓት ኣብ ኣስመራ ዘሎ ምስከደ ሽግር ኣይክህልወናን እዩ ኣይትሰከፍቡ ይቐኒለይ
Dawit, I want to say something real quick. I want to answer to your question. I think you mentioned about the military and how they're operating. I respect you and thank you for your service. One thing you have to understand, even during Iraq when it started and we're all part of that mission, U.S. troops were looting in Iraq and Baghdad. U.S. troops were stealing, were doing a lot of illegal things, you know? Let me finish. Let me just at the moment, then you respond.
United States?
Yeah. No, I understand, but I'm going to say something to compare what's going on in the ground in Eritrea. In war, it's not about who you are and what are your culture, what are your identity. In war, there is chaos. Soldiers who lose their friends, their family that blow up next to them, they respond differently mentally. And you see rape, you see looting, which is disgusting. It happens right now. Nobody would disagree that's not happening in Tigray right now. It is happening. And I think if you go back in November, I said it happening when a lot of people from my people, Eritrea, went and said, they went crazy on my life, you know, and I was showing them what is happening. But you have to understand also, it happened to Eritreans for many years. And just like Baba Bayana, and it's illustrated, there's a place called Ona, research Ona, how they burn our entire people, the entire villagers, innocent civilian, elderly, women, they were burned live in Ona. There's a place in Tigray in a market where a cluster bomb was dropped by Derg and burned civilians of Tagaru that went shopping. So atrocity and hate and all this genocide has happened in the past and it happened again. Even in the border conflict between Eritrea and Ethiopia between 1998 and 2000, from Barintu to Tasane, all the way to Haikota. That was happening because Derg movement was the Tagaru, TPLF. We're taking advantage and burning places and raping women. It happened back then, it was wrong. And it's happening right now, it's wrong. And if we're gonna unite and all of us have to agree, And we have to get every Eritrean and Tigray and Amhara and everybody together, united. We have to learn from our history, and we have to accept it. That was a dark time. It happened, and we are now by no means different than any country. In any war, there is this type of thing, and I'm sure it's happening in Syria and other places too. So I just wanted to make that clear. So Eritreans that are listening to this, and a lot of Hekdef right now that are listening to this, they understand, because they see us saying what's going on right now, but we also have to bring what happened to our people too, so they understand that we are not by no means saying what happened with our people too. Like Baba Bayana said, that was dark time, and it happened. And if we allow it to happen today, it happened again tomorrow. The cycle of abuse will continue. And if we allow leaders that are right now in charge to continue, they will drive us to more atrocity and hate. So that's all I have to say. That's what I wanted to answer to you.
Okay, so my disclaimer to that, I respect that, and I thank you. As far as being a previous or a soldier for us, unless you're talking about in the past, I've never seen that in my tours. Everyone I held accountable that did wrong, and everyone around me was professional in America. I'm talking about America. Now, as far as Eritrean soldiers, and I'll get to that, and we've discussed this enough. One thing that I want the viewers to understand is a lot of Hekdef support Eritrean Sarawit at Yom of Tigray and the TPLF, Kalasu support Igobrium. Is it come to Baba Bayana Zubologin? It hasabat critical thinking, mish one-way street upon it. Bahanti wagant rahimats in Izalo. Item Eritrean soldiers got Yumotulo. Jem Sarawit na Eritrea. كلهم ما يسعرون يمزلهم يحرودوا له خاصهم يموتوا له نبكال عادي مس أدخل اتخال عادها كباسكاي مش كواقاكاي دك إنا يموتوا له أسرت حمشته أسرت شوعته أسرع عدمهم كلهم يموتوا له نأريتريا إلهم يموتوا له جي نايمن وجي إزي mute if you guys need to mute نايمن وجي يمزبا أسو زلو دك عادناس نمن يمزموتو زلو نايمن مخسب يمزموتو زلو نحار سباي بعلو اتيم هكدفاوي كلهم نساي سفورك اسئلو ما فيسبوك كله تريم دلها نعوكو بعلو إثيوبياني ناتكو مراحيس إثيوبيان كلوس دك ناس نإثيوبيا مراحي كتحوكوس يلكم كموتو السدوام الله بزي خاني ناي إثيوبيان أمهارا elitist agenda خاني يسدوا مالو أمهارا غايس أو تلو مالو دك عدنا سراويتنا ندا موتو إسي تشجر زلو سوس إتي حبشة community زلو هكدف confused كوينو مالتس دك إنا يسدوا كموتو on behalf of DIA. Why كموتو راح يمغسب. Is it 1 billion Ethiopia what's adelan says hoflazala shabat yumosulo ugrom boots come on yoboloman bishabat imzawagu uzalo. Who wants this nidak adina mish is he feelings nate? But the question I want to ask you is, why are Slumtai, and this is for my brother Daniel, why are is it identity crisis? ne size you go for and you fought am كل عالم فلت يبعلوا فرق إثيوبياني سراويتنا سلامتا so the ones why come Gaita you go through معارة Gaitas معارة أملاخ you go through why do they count him as God, similar to God? Is that because of lack of education مهورات جمزة هونو هاجر السب دم كوينهم? I don't want to use that word again انتاي كلاسنا بجاه
حدا نجر أنا أنتاي كنجر كامس لك بزعبا نا إثيوبيا نا أمحارو نجرك أمحارو إذن أبي مالتي first of all نتنا ناتسنت أيقبلوا إذا سي إذا clearly سني نعين ناتسنت زي قبلوا سب بتانكن بنفاريتن زدبدبن المحجي يو عبير تراسي ندبدبين عميرنا بتانكي رقصهم نيرهم قلعوا the same people كان يحجي مس إساء سافور قهينهم بحنسب الله
boy.
حجي imagine حجي أنا أتوقع أبس أبعبات أسمرة الكتماتات كله what damage are they doing right now نتيجة نحواتي أولد نتيجة دك نستيو نعيشوا بتصنعت انتهي قبرهم زلوا imagine that military يمجون military راح يكون يمجون يقدوجهم ترديكا حجي انتهي نعاتهم defense قبروا لهم سبيلن بس لم انتهي يتمنى سي حديم وصي كابتا عدي سبيتري هالها عدنا خبرتها precious you تن نحنا عديتات نعاتن حجي defense قبروا لهم سبيلن أم حرايت راح يزولو حجي ناناس النتي زي أمن اللي أم حرايسي كم يجرب ممسوخ خونج on the other hand أنت قارو نتناتنا ناس النتي أمنوا اليوم سلازي أبينا يسايدي خون زلنا أنا أبتنا عايز يدقفني دي خون زلني ويس أبتنا عايز يدقفني خون this is not rocket science كون إذا نخطفلتو سني simple math you know حجي عن انتاي مستقارو سلنتا أهم كم زيكم of course مستقارين هنكون بر why نحل كاني first of all نتندي حرجز مزلو تسألي كيمتس إن حرج نحنا نفرح علينا إن حر تقارو خابز قد وصيهم مزلو حنسب وصيهم مسانا خوينم كسرح بحنسب كنسرح ندلنا نحنا كنا مالسنا نسقوم نواقع بسنك زي سن سرعتهم جا أمسي وزلو جبل مستوم تقارو حزب نحنا تسليه بنا ولا حد تسليه بنا نحنا أب طاولة كوفيلنا كنرادا نخلينا نساتهم تناي عد بوتاتنا حقي يفلطوا حزب صقم يقولوا أبزق انت مثلك أتيت نمتع حتيت كاني تي تمس إساس هوز بزلس انت هوين نحل كاني ولا زي كم زي ناي سايكولوجي ممر كدليو خلانو because أنا في ود حوين دامو تخلو دي قالوا وقال عن دامو تخلو سبيت دامو تخلو 150 ريفيجي نداو تخلو دينو تي ريفيجي زلو سبات يقاو بتميت موتلو مالتي ننزل نخطفلتو خمي غير كعمو تحجزو I have no idea خمي غير تحجزو مونك لم دايسني نحاد زعمصكا زسددكا مغبي زهبكا ماي يبلكان الكتريك يبلكان نان والحنتي سبورت زي قبركا سرعه كمي غير كعمو تدغفو how بمتى ملك علمو اب امريكا عند حرسي سريحكا ويلفير توسد خلا you know قالت ناي هاوزين كستاي يبوخا سكشن اي قلمتها توخا اب ايرترا نحدا زي بالكاس انت حتقبرمو it's a government سني نت حزبي تطوا يبللون the government stand up زعدي نت حزبي تطوا يبللون officials ابانا غنتا مسلكا بحزب تمرصو منግስት ስለዘይ ብልና እዚኦም ጉጅለናይ ክሳም ነው እዚኦም እንታብለክ ዓዋልዮም ነው لحري انتان ملكا اتي ناي civil societies military خم حضروا اي كلهم ات military science ابي يسرع ابرخا ا military side يسرع مس society سرع جن اتوب civils هونو مهورات ساتهم زكايدو اب government مبزحتو زين حسر ريخا كتماتات ريخايو ساتهم سرع totally different thing ابانا قلنا مزلكا كواغون نتعادن خم حضروا بحد خلو يدليلو مالتي it doesn't work like that حجي to go back to your question توم هيجدفس سلامتا عم تدقفو زلو سلامتا مزلكا دقوم يمزموتو زلوكو نحنا هيجدفنكو we are Eritreans we all Eritreans هذا حاجة يزلنا اتفل اللي كنا مزلكا أنا توم حزبي كودو عيدليومني كتأمي عيدليومني كسدودو عيدليومني توم قالوس إني كندي يونيفرسيتي خيدم ساينتست هون أبناء إساسين أبين وقع يموتوا the future of the country زي أتوميهم وتم حدش ولا دومسيهم government built تغور زخولو ساتهم منه هجن ساتهم من دات أفو خلوسي أنا مو هيجدا في مو مس إساس نحد سب كتتعالو كندي مليون سب كتتفق it doesn't work like that because see أنا ملسي بلاي نايزي نمتى عم توم هيجدا في نيساس تداعلو I don't know because كاتو تامزلكا ربحان يروم تزغون ربحان تامزلكا قال incentive انتزلوكا كون show me incentive ولا حنت incentive يقولون إساس هيجرف الحجاز because كابين لا على سروه بحد هيجرف ولا حنت نجارين ولا حنت you know probably بعد أبين إساس حدا billions dollars زاروا وغيره نحن أجن كتشاير خبنا عدنا simple necessities عير خبنا زلوا تزبنا حاجة I have no idea أنا متى يسبب كم زد الجفون السرعات زي I don't know.
Thank you, Daniel Hauna. Haji, كنت ساعات مرب جرنا نرنا كي ودعنا خلنا. What I would like to ask you, gentlemen, is I did it live with my brothers Sirak, Baba Bey and his son yesterday. We had a lot of fun, you know, joking back and forth. What I would like is, for me, watching all the Tagarus going through what they're going through as a human. I'm talking about not even as an Eritrean. I'm just talking about as a man, as a human with a heart. It's Salamawi selfie. These Bahal Nuriel and Amish. But to Bandera, New York, you know, the Adam could do good for him. Beanie, you're making us dizzy, brother. The Adam could do good for him. Kate on Mish. I'm going to give you each 1 minute. Neti Hizbi. The ones here in America that are crying every day, they're going through, that can't get a hold of their family members. Kulu. And I'm not saying support TPLF. I'm saying as a human, as a man, as a father, as a grandfather, as a scholar, what message do you have for the Tagaru people that are suffering right now, that no one is able to be a voice for them? Because I don't care if you're head deaf, I don't care if you're not head deaf, low key, I know this. As hard as you try to be, we all have kids, we all have feelings, sisters, brothers, and relatives. Mr. Bayane, I will give the mic to you. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
بقى كوبن كوينا ذا ساعات مهاب كان كم زي كوبن تعرفه أنت مالك أوكي زحزن نجار نديو ترخبه كل جزء حدا وان حماق زي حسب كاي زقات مكالو كم زي حجي قاتي مزولو أبتمكرو قال سناون بزح قاتي ميقوم من تايم عليتيو فتصوم زي فتح زمسل شجر دبق يلو مساكا unexpected زي قمت كايو نابنت غابو خمس قالكم قرب تنكف كبلاي أب 7 شهور عامة مرات كتماتات مسحازنا درج مسيخ أب سومال قفيون برخاء بقاني كاب كل ختماتات هاوصينا حجب زوان زي اتي قال سنتا يزبل بستناو حق قال سخن عواتينا يزبل ستناو حمينس up and down سلو زلو مالتي أبزي حزب تግራይ وريد زلو بحافشو بإثيوبيا وريد زلو زم كلتا سخرامات فتيرو زلو شجر سلام أب تግራይ راح يكون زلو اتشجر لومي أملو قرن أفريقيا له أب سودان قالو شجر وقع مس إثيوبيا أب صومال قالو صقم برتع صقم كم أول أب إيرترا له حجة إذا حسم جن تزارار يوم زهر موزلون حزب تግራይ كم حزبي حزب تግራይ كم زل خاي صنع عبل شجر كحلفيو ناتو زوسده وسيدو كحلفيو قتل كصنع نحنا كم إيرتراوي أنا كم إيرتراوي أبلعلي هيمان أبلعلي سبعوي بزي جباب زقتلن زموتن زلو عقب كبل عقمي كدقف دلو يقول لك زي مخنياتو حزبي كبدل يقولون أبلعلي حزبي أبلعلي قلعة أبلعلي سبيتي أبلعلي كتق الشي أبلعلي شيخ زت سرعات لو مرينا لنا وقت واقينا أنا ميدا إرسا كتمان حزا كتمان صوصانا حزبي سعدا نسألا حيزو قبلكا أيتو قتلون حدا الصخرو عركوهم قلم زخونهم حدا خلتين سبات وورد كلمة الماما قن حزبي تتفقنخا جزاءاتي خاي تزرفنخا زي حماق سراحيو أب تاريخنا سلم تاريخ أب تاريخنا تقرأي بفلاي قبل علوم زور الزلو سلم تاريخي جن كحلافي خا أجوهم يقولهم زيتي ناتي مسج نعم. Thank you.
Thank you, Baba Bene, Kur. حونا دانيال.
اوكي انا انتهى قبل زلي اتي سرعات زغون سرعات يمص يخيد اتي حزب ግን كل ጊዜ ነበር ስለዚህ አነ ነቲ ህዝብ ትግራይ ከም ሰብ as a human being እንታይ as حسب ናጽነት ክረኽቡ ይደሊ you know እቲ ህዝብ ክብደል ከሎስ ተበዲሉ ክንብል ኣለና ደላይ ፍትሒ ክትብል ከለኻ ስኻ እንታይ ማለት ምዃኑ ንድሕር ክትፈልጦ ደሊኻ ነቲ ፍትሒ ሲኢኑ ዘሎ ሰብ ጠጠቅ ትብለሉ ኣለካ ሕጂ እንታይ ማለት እዩ እዚ እቲ ህዝቢ ትግራይ ረኺብዎ ዘሎ ዓመፅ እዚ ዘይበሃል መከራ ተጸሚሞም ክሓልፍዎ ምስ ሓለፉ ከዓኒ ምስቲ ህዝብና ተሳኒና ከዓኒ ክንነብር ኢናተይ ድሌትን ክስታይ ረሃዋ ግን ክመጽእ እዚ ሕጂ መጽእ ዘሎ ዓመፅን ገለን ክሓልፍ እዩ ኣነ ከዓ ነቲ ሚሊታሪ ካብኡ ክወፅእ ነና ሕጂ ዴሞንስትሬሽን ንገብር ኣለና ኣብ ኩሉ ዓለም እቲ ደላይ ፍትሒ ወፂኡ ዴሞንስትሬሽን ንገብር ኣሎ ንመን ዴሞንስትሬሽን ዝገብር ዘሎ ነቲ ህዝቢ ተወፅኡ ዘሎ ሕጂ ነቱ ግዳይ ኮይኑ ዘሎ ከዓኒ እቲ ህዝብና ግዳይ ኮይኑ ካብ ሬፊጂ ጀሚርካ ካብቶም ቆልዑ ናብ ውግእ ዝኣትው ጀሚርካ ካብ ኩሉ ሕጂ ኣነ ነቲ ህዝቢ ትግራይ እንታይ መሰጅ ክህቦ ዝደሊ ኣጆኹም ፅንዑ እቲ ህዝቢ እቲ ሽግር ክሓልፍ እዩ ህዝቢ ኤርትራ ከዓኒ ምስ ህዝቢ ትግራይ ወላ ሓንቲ ፅልኢ ዝበሃል የብሉን እዩ
Thank you, Brother Daniel. Now we're going to ask, you heard the question, Binam?
One more time, throw it against me. I think you were mentioning if we have a message for the people in Tigray, right?
Yes, in terms of Hazunus are low, Sabams at food are low, in time message, Alaka, Tasfahak, or Tublomska.
I think if we learn one thing from the people of Tigray and people of Eritrea, first and foremost, they have to understand this is just a honeymoon stage between Dr. Abai and Isaias Afwerki. Honeymoon stage will not last, especially when they're all power-hungry people. I would want to say this to the people of Tigray. I think they prevailed in the past. They have gone through hard time. They went through struggle. They went in 1985 famine where Mengistu has decided to starve them so they can just stop fighting, you know? And that also happened to Eritrea. So people that goes through those hardship time and evil time and hardship doesn't last, but love will last. And the people with love, the people with kindness, the people that are there, I'm praying for them. The people that here that don't know where their mom, their dad, their auntie, their uncle, I'm praying for them that this will end. And once this ends, I hope this is the last of it and we'll all have to come together. Eritrean, Amharu, Tigray, all of us, we have to come together. Not only the one that are there, the one are here. We have to sit together and reconcile and figure out who we should be putting people in power that care about human life, that care about human being, that care about making people are safe and the children are growing up not to die in reckless war, that have opportunity to go to school and have a life, simple life like we all do. So let's just together, I just want to say this to also in Tigrinya, you know, his Tigray, you know, Kulu Abu Zallo, Meret Tigray, Hun, Wala Watsai, Solotem Sahomalo, his Buhulisha, Salaina, Salatun, Salatu, and the Zolo Salaina, his be Nizal Alamaina Brini, for reason, you know. I just hope that that United States, you know, and all the powerful countries are paying attention and that they don't look at Africa as a place that like East Africa, that just a place that there is no interest like oil, there's no interest like stuff. See it as humanitarian. If this happened in Rwanda and we allowed it, and then later on we apologize for not reacting and doing anything, this is an opportunity to make up for it. This is an opportunity to stop it. And not just by sanction, because leaders who are in East Africa that are criminal, they don't respond sanction. They can die and fight with one piece of rock. So there have to be something else to stop this immediately, ceasefire, and save the people that are dying in hate, you know. And I apologize if taking too long. And I just want to say, everybody, thank you. And I love you all and hope your family are doing okay.
Thank you. All right, Baba Bena, we can't really see you. Up to again. So Team Freedom, I brought you the board panels. حتتكمني. No Baba Benin Binam Fatihom last time. Blaswam Hatitomni, Malisam, Hauna Daniel, Kuur Hauna Msina. Nufor Zion Kulum Nufaat Muhuratim. These are educated people. When they make a comment or statement, they're giving you their professional experiences and opinions, from what they know from their experiences. So I've seen a few comments that people said, you know, with this person said that this. No, it's not that they're not being insensitive. They're sharing their experiences with you. One thing we Habashas got to do, or Eritreans, or Tagarus, or Amharats, we have to be able to communicate effectively, and we got to be able to give each other the benefit of the doubt. Ensure you give your brother the benefit of the doubt. Don't assume he's heartless because he made a statement from his experience. Behind the scenes, you don't know what these people individually do for the people. Like Binyam, Baba Bennett, Hawana Daniel. I know each one of them help Tagalus. I know each one of them help Eritreans, everyone. So trust me, they do their part. So with that said, Team Freedom, like I told you, we're going to have the 1,000,000-man East African March in Matsulo. Is it Corona Mustawade? Is yon Kulam Turion Zolohum? Kahoguzinium, Toam Tibalium, Baluam, whatever. Kolab Hoguzinium. More Zoom meetings, Kanamsina, Kanizaravina, Skatkum Nugorini to Hutat, Kahatat, Etiam Subs Dumum Kani, Nugorini, Dumome. With that said, we want to say Dek Eritrea, Hailugabaru, Dek Integrai, Hailugabaru, Ethiopawi. Tahagagizna, Tasama Meina, bright future, and I'm not talking about the organization, I'm talking about a bright future collectively. I gotta be careful. People like to use words. Highly can gabirina. Testify to Urutsum, Kaito Orchu testify. Beloved, Rahina conquer can gabirina. With that said, I love you. Stay blessed, and God bless already. Thank you very much. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you. Thank you.
Dad.
Thank you, my
Thank you,
brothers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Baba. Phil, go ahead and